Good morning, dear friend. As the first light touches the edge of the horizon and the world stirs in gentle silence, I invite you to pause with me in this sacred moment. While the sky blushes with the quiet colors of dawn, there is something more than a new day awakening. It is the soul's quiet yearning to be heard, to be held, to be healed. Imagine, just for a moment, someone sitting in the corner of a dimly lit room. The night has stretched long and heavy, filled with questions that never found answers and tears that never found rest. Perhaps it is someone like you, or someone you love, holding a phone that never rang, staring at unopened bills piling on the table, or listening for a heartbeat that will never return. Maybe they have smiled all day just to cry in silence. Maybe they have prayed before, but lately, their words have felt like whispers lost in the wind. This person might be carrying a heart, swollen with disappointment, clenched tightly with fear of another day, repeating the pain of yesterday. Maybe they are tired not only in body, but in spirit, tired of trying, tired of pretending, tired of hoping against all odds. And somewhere inside, they ask the question most are too afraid to say aloud. Where is God in this? It is to that place, yes, that very place that we are now invited to bring our hearts. This is not just another morning. This is not just another prayer. This is a call to rise beyond the weight of what we see and feel, a sacred invitation to walk through the unseen, hand in hand with the one who sees what we cannot. Here, in the stillness of early light, we step out of mere routine and into something eternal. We leave behind the noise, the pressure, the confusion, and we begin a journey that leads not to escape, but to encounter. Faith is not the absence of pain. Faith is the presence of God in the midst of it. And prayer is not a last resort, it is the first movement of a soul turning toward light. When we begin to speak from the depths of our being, when we allow honesty and surrender to take the place of control, something begins to shift, not always around us, but always within us. So today, I invite you to open your heart, not as someone who has to have all the answers, but as someone who dares to believe there is more. More than this moment, more than the H, more than what you lost or fear you will never regain. You are not alone in this, and you do not need to walk with perfect words. You only need to walk with a willing heart. Let these next moments become more than background noise. Let them become your sanctuary. Let each word sink deeper than your fears. Let your doubts rise only to be replaced by peace. You are seen. You are loved. And whether you feel it or not, you are being called closer to the presence of the one who never lets go. This is the beginning of something holy. So breathe in. Dear soul, breathe in hope, breathe in light, and let us begin. Dear Heavenly Father, I wake up this morning not with strength, but with emptiness, not with clarity, but with a mind tangled in thoughts I cannot sort. The light outside begins to rise, but inside me, it still feels dark. I carry the weight of yesterday into this new day, and I do not yet know how to put it down. My heart is tired. My spirit feels distant. I do not feel holy, or worthy, or even ready. I just feel human, fragile, unsure. and searching. I bring this morning to you not because I have something noble to offer, but because I do not. I come not with songs of triumph, but with silence and sighs. There are no perfect words, only a soul reaching out in the stillness. I do not have energy to climb mountains today. I only have enough strength to whisper your name. And somehow, I trust that is enough for you to hear me. There are questions I cannot answer, decisions I cannot make, wounds I do not know how to heal. There is a numbness in me I cannot explain, and a fear that if I stop moving, I might break completely. I feel like I am walking barefoot through a valley of shadows, unsure of where the road leads, afraid to hope again. Yet something deep within me, small and flickering, still believes you are near. Not because I feel it, but because I have known you before in moments like this. So I choose to speak to you even when my words feel empty. I choose to believe you are listening even when I hear nothing in return. I choose to believe that the silence is not absence, but invitation, that the stillness of morning is not cold and distant, but full of hidden mercy waiting to rise like the sun. I do not come to impress you, God. I come to be held by you. I come to be known again, even in my hollow places. You see me before I say anything. You know the thoughts I cannot shape into prayers. You understand the tears I try to hold back. You are the one who counts every breath and notices every H. You are not far off in the clouds. You are here in the shadows, in the uncertainty, in the empty space where I wait for something to change. I do not ask for all the answers this morning. I ask only that you stay close, that you walk beside me in this fog I do not yet know how to escape. There is no rhythm to my prayer today, only this slow release of everything I carry. Every disappointment, every unanswered cry, every piece of me that still longs to believe there is beauty ahead, even when all I see is dust. If there is anything you want from me this morning, it is not perfection, it is presence. And so I am here. Weary, yes, but here. Empty, maybe, but open. This is not strength, but surrender. I need you more than I need understanding. I need your nearness more than I need certainty, because if I know you are with me, I can face the unknown. I can carry the questions. I can endure the silence. If I know you are beside me in this quiet place, then I am not lost. I may not feel brave, but I am still reaching for you. I may not see the road, but I trust you do. And even now, in this moment where nothing inside me feels sure, I speak the only truth I know with confidence. You are still God. You are still the one who stays when everyone else walks away. You are still the one who sees when no one else notices. You are still the one who waits for me, even when I am slow to come. So here I am, coming slowly, not with fire, but with flicker, not with a song, but with a sigh, not with victory, but with vulnerability. I am not trying to impress you, Father. I am trying to find you again, and I trust that you do not hide from those who seek you in truth. I do not need to be loud to be heard. I do not need to be strong to be loved. I do not need to be whole to be welcomed. So I come as I am, half awake, half broken, but fully yours. And maybe that is what this morning is for. Not for striving, but for surrender. Not for clarity, but for closeness. Not for answers, but for presence. I do not ask you to remove all my pain. I ask you to sit with me in it. Let my first breath of this day be one that calls out to you. Let the quiet around me not feel like absence, but possibility. Let the stillness inside me become sacred space, where my doubts are not shamed, but gently held. Let this be the place where something begins again, not loudly, not quickly, but deeply. Even if nothing changes on the outside, change me from within. Even if the world stays heavy, make my heart light. Even if the path is hidden, let me walk it with you. I cannot fix everything today, but I can choose to reach for you in the midst of it all. I can begin with a whisper. I can begin with weakness. I can begin with the truth that I cannot begin alone. So be the first thought in my mind and the first strength in my soul. I do not ask you to meet me in a church or a mountaintop. Meet me here in this morning of emptiness, in the I cannot name, in the tired places that no one else can see. I will not pretend I have it all together. I will not pretend I do not need you. I will not pretend that this morning feels easy. But I will begin, not because I feel ready, but because you are ready for me. Not because I am strong, but because you are gentle. Not because I have earned this moment, but because grace makes it possible. You are here. And that is enough for now. Lord, if you are as close as I believe you are, then let these words reach you. Let them break through whatever invisible wall I have felt pressing against my chest. I do not need a grand answer this morning. I need a place to pour out the weight that I can no longer hold in silence. I come not just to be comforted, but to cry out, to release everything I have been carrying quietly in the corners of my heart. I have reached the point where silence is no longer peace. It has become pressure, and I cannot keep it inside anymore. I have walked through too many days, holding in the storm that has been gathering in my soul. I have smiled when I wanted to scream. I have agreed when I wanted to run. I have nodded politely when inside I was collapsing. I have tried to be strong for others when I could barely hold myself up. And now, Father, I bring you the truth beneath the surface, not the polished version of my faith, but the trembling voice of someone who just needs to be heard by you. I am not angry with you, God, but I am tired. I am confused. I am breaking in places no one can see. I feel like I have been walking through a long hallway of closed doors, knocking again and again with no reply. I feel like I have prayed into an echo, and all I hear is my own desperation bouncing back. I feel like I have been sitting in a waiting room with no explanation, watching others move forward while I remain here, wondering if you remember that I am still waiting. This cry is not rehearsed. It is not measured. It is raw. It is what happens when the heart gets too full and has nowhere left to hide. I am not asking you to make everything easy. I am asking you to make it bearable. I am not asking you to take away all the pain. I am asking you to meet me in the middle of it. Hear the ache behind these words. Hear the fatigue that no sleep can fix. Hear the longing that no person has been able to fill. I am reaching for you not because I am noble, but because I have nothing else to reach for. If I must weep, let it be with you. If I must question, let it be in your presence. If I must struggle, let me struggle in the arms of the one who understands the language of the heart when words fail. I do not need eloquence. I need connection. I do not need perfect theology. I need your touch. I do not need to be right. I need to be real. And in being real with you, maybe I can begin to feel human again. There are wounds that still bleed, though they are unseen. There are memories I have buried because I did not know what to do with them. There are regrets that circle back like shadows each morning, reminding me of what I have lost, what I have done, what I can never get back. There are moments I wish I could undo, words I wish I could retract, and people I wish I had the courage to forgive. I bring all of it here, now, without hiding any of it behind smiles or shallow declarations of strength. God, I know you are not afraid of my honesty. You are not offended by my weakness. You are not distant from my pain. You are drawn to the brokenhearted. You dwell in the cries of those who feel abandoned. You are the one who sits with the grieving, walks with the rejected, and listens to those who others have forgotten. You are the God of the undone, the uncertain, and the almost given up. And so I trust that you can receive all of this and still not turn away. Even in this moment, as I feel fragile and frayed, something inside me believes you are near, not because I see you clearly, but because I cannot bear the thought that you are not. My cry may not be loud, but I trust it is heard. Like a voice echoing through a vast canyon, I release these prayers, hoping they will reach you, believing that somehow they already have, that you catch every word, even the ones I do not know how to speak aloud. I do not ask for miracles to appear on command. I ask for the miracle of not walking through this day alone. I ask for the strength to breathe when my chest is heavy. I ask for lightness in my step when everything feels like stone. I ask for a whisper, a nudge, a trace of peace that lets me know you are with me in this valley. I do not need to know the destination. I only need to know you are walking beside me. And if you are, then I will keep moving. Slowly. Perhaps. Uncertainly. Yes. But I will not stop. I will not pretend this is easy. But I will choose not to turn away from you. I will choose to keep crying out, even when I do not hear an answer. I will choose to believe that you are listening, that you are closer than I feel, and that you are already holding what I cannot. This morning, I give you not just my praise, but my pain, not just my faith, but my fear, not just my plans, but my broken hopes. Take them all and hold them in your hands. Do not let me be defined by the weight I carry. Let me be known by the one I carry it to. You are my place of refuge when I have nowhere else to go. You are my shelter when the storm won't end. You are the voice that speaks softly to a soul that has screamed in silence for too long. I release it all now, every hidden H, every silent tear, every question I have been too afraid to ask. I lay them before you, God, not because I expect you to solve them all immediately, but because I believe you care. I believe you are listening, and I believe you respond, even when the answer is not what I expected. Let this be the morning where something begins to lift. Let this be the prayer that moves the needle inside my spirit. Let this cry, this honest, raw, open cry, be the turning point where I finally let go of what I cannot carry alone. God, as I let the ache speak and the tears fall, something in me begins to remember. Not fully, not clearly, but enough to stir the faint outline of who you have been in my life. In the middle of this heaviness, I begin to recall pieces of the story I thought I had lost. My pain is still present, my questions still loud, but in their shadows I catch glimpses of moments I had forgotten, moments where you met me, when I did not know how to reach you. I remember the night when I thought the loneliness would crush me, and yet a friend called unexpectedly, speaking words I needed without even knowing I was breaking. I remember the morning I opened my eyes without answers, but somehow felt the courage to rise and keep going. I remember the peace that came in the middle of chaos, not because the chaos ended, but because you were in it with me. I remember the stillness after the storm, not caused by time, but by your presence calming what I could not. You have never promised a life without trouble, but you have always shown up in the trouble. You have been the whisper in the fire, the light in the cave, the anchor in the flood, and even now, when everything feels uncertain, I find comfort in the truth that you have not changed. You are the same God who met me before, the same God who parted seas, raised the dead, fed multitudes, and spoke creation into being. You have not grown weary. You have not walked away. You do not forget your people. Lord, I may feel weak, but you have never depended on my strength to move. My hands may be empty, but yours have never been. I may falter in faith, but you remain faithful. You are not confined to my timeline or shaped by my fears. You are not reduced by my pain or distracted by my noise. You are still God, and there is none like you. You sit above time and walk beside me in it. You hold all things together, even when I feel like falling apart. In the pages of Scripture and the corners of my memory, you remind me of who you are. You are the one who called Abraham when he had no map and made him a father of nations. You are the one who spoke to Moses through a burning bush, reminding him that divine purpose is not hindered by human insecurity. You are the one who took David from the field and placed him on the throne, the one who turned a shepherd's sling into a weapon against giants. You are the one who sat with the broken, healed the bleeding, raised the dead, and welcomed the sinner without shame. You are not a story from the past. You are the living presence of every breath I take. You are not locked in history. You are moving in this very moment, even if I cannot yet perceive it. You are not limited by what limits me. Where I see endings, you create beginnings. Where I see loss, you speak resurrection. Where I see emptiness, you prepare to fill. And even when I question whether you still care, your faithfulness answers louder than my fear. Remind me again, God, not just of what you have done, but of who you are. Let the sound of your name echo through every silent place in my heart. Let the weight of your goodness sink deeper than the weight of my sorrow. Let the memory of your miracles not be distant history, but present hope. I am not just crying into the darkness, I am calling on the God who has already walked me through fire before and never let me burn. You have seen me at my worst and still chosen to stay. You have watched me wander and still drawn me home. You have heard my doubts and still whispered promises. You have counted every tear and stored them with care. If I cannot feel you now, it does not mean you are absent. It only means I must remember what I have already known, that you do some of your greatest work in the unseen, that you often move not in the roar, but in the stillness. You are not delayed, though I feel like I have waited forever. You are not unsure, though I am confused. You are not indifferent, though I sometimes fear you have turned away. You are still writing when I assume the story has ended. You are still building when I see rubble. You are still restoring when I see loss. And you are still loving when I feel unworthy. Your nature is not based on my mood. Your power is not hindered by my limitations. Your grace is not earned, it is given. And you give it freely. Help me not to forget, not just the verses and the promises, but the moments, the midnight whispers, the surprise provision, the unexplained peace. The way you stitch things back together when I thought they were beyond repair. Let those memories rise like morning light, pushing back the darkness that tells me you have gone silent. Let remembrance become the bridge that carries me from despair to trust. Let the record of your goodness be the ground where my hope stands again. I may not see the full picture yet, but I remember the colors. I may not hear the whole melody, but I remember the tune. You are the same God who has always been near. The same God who has walked me through days I did not think I would survive. So I will hold on, not because I feel strong, but because I remember that you are. I will pray, not because the storm has stopped. Because I have seen you speak to storms before. I will trust, not because it is easy, but because you have earned that trust again and again. You are not a distant idea. You are the God who moved then, and you are the God who moves now. Remind me of that every time I forget. Remind me when the silence grows. Remind me when the tears come. Remind me when my hands feel too weak to raise. Be the voice that cuts through doubt. Be the presence that stands firm when my faith shakes. Be the memory that becomes my momentum. Be the anchor when I drift. Be the same God today that you have always been. Be near to me as I remember. Be God. Father, even as I remember who you are, even as I reach back for the truth I once held so closely, there is still this silence. This strange, etching quiet that stretches across my spirit like a fog, that one T-lift. I do not doubt that you are real, or good, or near, but sometimes your nearness feels so still, so quiet, it almost feels like absence. And that is what I do not know what to do with the emptiness between my cry and your reply. I speak. I wait. I listen. And sometimes I still feel like I am standing alone in a vast room, waiting for an echo that never returns. I know in my heart that you are not ignoring me, that your silence is not rejection, but my heart and my mind do not always agree. There are days where your stillness feels like distance, where your timing feels like delay, where your silence feels like a closing door instead of a waiting answer. Help me, Lord, in this space. Help me not to confuse silence with abandonment. Help me not to mistake your stillness for absence. I know that you have often moved in ways that required quiet before the shift, stillness before the storm passed, waiting before the wonder. But waiting does not come easy to me. I want answers. I want signs. I want sound. I want proof that something is happening beneath the surface of what I can see and feel. There are moments where I wonder if I am doing something wrong, if I have somehow missed you or wandered off your path. There are moments I search my soul for the reason why the heavens feel sealed. But maybe, God, maybe this is not punishment. Maybe this is preparation. Maybe what feels like distance is actually depth. Maybe you are drawing me closer in a way that no noise could ever accomplish. Teach me how to sit in this silence with you. Teach me how to breathe in the quiet without panicking. Teach me how to trust that you are working even when I cannot see a single movement. My faith wants to run ahead, wants to grasp at solutions, wants to pull you closer on my own terms. But you are not a God to be rushed. You are not a voice that bows to my demands. You are a presence that invites me to slow down, to be still, to lean in when everything inside me wants to pull away. It is in this silence, uncomfortable as it may be, that something inside me begins to change. I start to notice things I would have missed in the noise. I start to listen deeper, past the surface, into the subtle rhythms of my spirit. I begin to sense that silence is not the absence of voice, but the invitation to hear differently. To hear not just with my ears, but with my soul. To hear what cannot be spoken, what must be felt, what must be waited on. Sometimes I think about how the earth turns silently, how seeds sprout beneath the soil without sound, how the stars appear without fanfare. And I wonder if this is how you work too, not always loudly, but always faithfully. I wonder if the silence is not empty, but full of the unseen work of your hands. And if that is true, then perhaps I am not waiting for you to speak. Perhaps I am learning to understand what you are saying in a language I did not expect. So I surrender to this stillness, not as one who gives up, but as one who gives in. I let go of the demand to hear you on my terms. I let go of the pressure to interpret every quiet moment as a sign of something wrong. I choose to sit with you here, in this place that feels both sacred and uncertain. I choose to believe that you are closer than I feel, that you are moving even when all seems still. God, I do not want to miss you because I was too focused on what I could not hear. I do not want to grow cold because I mistook your quiet for distance. I want to grow roots in this place. I want to deepen, to stretch, to become more grounded in you, not because everything is clear, but because I have learned to rest in what is not. I want to know you not only in the miracles, but in the mundane. Not only in the breakthrough, but in the waiting. Not only in the sound, but in the silence. And so I breathe slowly now. I let the quiet be what it is. I do not rush it away. I do not fill it with noise. I sit with it. I hold it like a fragile gift. knowing that you are here even when you do not speak. I will not let the silence harden me. I will let it hollow out space for something deeper. I will let it teach me patience, humility, trust. I will let it refine my listening until I no longer need sound to know that you are near. Because I remember now you were quiet in the garden before the cross. You were silent in the tomb before the resurrection. You were still in the boat before you calmed the storm. And in every silence, you were not gone. You were preparing something beyond comprehension. So if this silence is part of my story, I will not run from it. I will sit here with you until the next word comes. And even if it never does, I will trust that your presence is not defined by volume, but by love. Even in this quiet, I can feel the faint warmth of hope, like morning light behind closed eyes. It begins to rise, not loud, not fast, but steady. I cannot yet see what you are doing, but I choose to believe it is good. I cannot yet trace your hand, but I trust your heart. And as I remain here, in this still and sacred space, I begin to understand silence is not the end of our conversation. It is the space where something deeper is being written, something not yet spoken, but already unfolding. Father, if the silence is not a void, but a veil, then help me lean into it without fear. If the quiet places are not signs of your distance, but spaces for deeper things to unfold, then let my heart rest there, knowing you are near. I am learning that just because I cannot see movement does not mean nothing is happening. That just because my prayers are met with stillness does not mean they are met with indifference. There is a kind of work that cannot be measured by sight, a kind of progress that grows beneath the surface where only you can reach. God, I confess that I have often expected you to move in ways I can easily recognize. I have looked for flashes of light, open doors, loud answers. I have assumed that visible action meant divine attention, and when nothing appeared to change, I questioned if you had heard me at all. But now I am beginning to understand that you do some of your greatest work in secret, behind the curtain, beneath the soil, inside the heart. I think of seeds buried in darkness before they bloom. I think of the foundations of buildings, laid deep and hidden long before any walls are raised. I think of the womb where life is formed in silence, the cocoon where transformation happens unseen. And I realize that you are a God who prepares before you reveal, who builds in the hidden places before you unveil the beauty for the world to see. You are never idle. You are never unaware. You are always working, even when all seems still. So help me to trust what I cannot track. Help me to believe that you are orchestrating things beyond my reach. That while I worry over what seems stagnant, you are weaving details into alignment, opening doors I do not yet know I will walk through, softening hearts I have not yet encountered, preparing moments that will one day look like sudden miracles, but were, in truth, long in the making. Teach me, Lord, to see with spiritual eyes, to believe that the unseen is not the unreal, that just because it is hidden does not mean it is absent, that your silence does not equal inactivity, but intentionality, that the waiting is not wasted, but sacred, a holy hush before the unveiling of something only you could prepare. I remember now that you moved through Joseph's prison before the palace, that you shaped Moses in the desert before the Exodus, that you prepared David in the field before the crown, that you readied Esther in quiet obedience before she stood before the king. And I realize, maybe the waiting room is not a punishment, but a womb, a place where purpose grows until it is ready to be born. God, forgive me for rushing what you are slowly and carefully shaping. Forgive me for doubting just because I could not see the blueprint. Forgive me for measuring progress only by what my eyes could recognize. You are not rushed. You are not forgetful. You are deliberate, precise, patient. And if you are taking your time with me, then maybe it is because what you are building is meant to last. Maybe what feels like delay is actually devotion, your careful attention to every layer, every moment, every detail. Let that truth settle into the places where anxiety has been living. Let it replace the restless pacing in my soul with steady trust. Let it quiet the questions that wake me in the night. You are not late. You are layering grace into things I cannot yet comprehend. You are aligning hearts, arranging timing, placing me where I could not place myself. And when the day comes that things finally fall into place, I will know it was not sudden, it was sacred. It was slow on purpose. It was love in motion. Father, I want to live with that awareness, even before the outcome. I want to walk through today not with desperation, but with quiet assurance. I want to wake each morning and say, even if I cannot see it, I trust that you are working. I want to carry peace that does not depend on proof, joy that is not tied to answers, and strength that comes from knowing I am held in hands that do not fumble or forget. I surrender my obsession with signs and outcomes. I release my addiction to certainty. I choose instead to embrace mystery without fear, to embrace process without panic. You are not a God of confusion. You are the God of perfect order, even when the pattern is not yet clear. And I will trust that if I am in your hands, then I am never out of place, even in the silence, even in the pause, even when the curtain has not lifted yet. And so I breathe, slowly and deeply, not because everything is settled, but because I am choosing to settle into you. I do not need to know the whole path if I know you are walking with me. I do not need to see the finished work to believe it is being crafted. You have been faithful before. You will be faithful again. And even now, when things seem quiet and still, I believe you are moving in ways that only time will reveal. Let me live this day with that kind of trust. Let me look around, not for signs of panic, but for signs of your quiet faithfulness, a small encouragement, a conversation I did not expect, shift in my own heart. Let me find you in the subtle, in the barely noticeable, in the space between questions. Let me grow more aware of your fingerprints in the ordinary, because nothing is ordinary when you are present, and you are present, even here, even now, even behind the scenes I cannot yet see. You are not waiting to begin. You have already begun, and I am part of something far greater than I imagined. something that is being built one invisible moment at a time. Lord, if you are working even when I cannot see, if your presence surrounds every unseen layer of my life, then why does fear still find its way into my thoughts? Why does it curl itself around my confidence, whispering lies just quiet enough to sound like truth? I want to trust you fully, yet there are moments when fear rises faster than faith. It disguises itself as caution, disguises itself as control, and before I notice, it has become the voice I listen to more than yours. I know now that fear does not always shout. Sometimes it speaks in familiar tones. It sounds like my own thoughts, laced with doubt. It questions everything you have promised. It magnifies every possible failure, replays every past disappointment, and wraps it in the illusion of logic. It convinces me to prepare for the worst, not to pray for the best. It tells me that safety is found in smallness, in silence, in retreat. But you, God, are not the author of fear. You do not lead me through shadows only to abandon me there. You do not invite me to trust you, only to trick me with heartbreak. So today I bring this fear into the light. I name it. I expose it. I confess that I have made agreements with its voice. I have let it dictate my choices, shape my prayers, control my responses. I have trusted its warnings more than your promises. I have given it permission to sit where only faith should dwell. And now I choose to break that agreement. I renounce every belief that tells me you are not enough. I tear down every thought that says I have to do this on my own. I dismantle every stronghold that fear has built in my mind, brick by brick, lie by lie. You have not given me a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and of a sound mind. And today, with trembling hands and a willing heart, I reclaim that truth. I reclaim my sound mind. I reclaim my peace. I reclaim the freedom you have always offered. Fear has been a quiet companion, but it is not my friend. It has worn the disguise of protection, but it has only stolen my joy. It has promised me safety, but delivered only limitation. It has shrunk the borders of my life, convincing me that caution is wisdom when really it was just control. It has stopped me from stepping out, speaking up, reaching forward. It has made me second guess the very things you placed in my spirit. But you, Father, have called me higher. You have called me to walk by faith, not by what I see or feel. And so even when my knees shake and my voice trembles, I will speak back to fear. I will remind it that it has no power here. I will confront it with the truth of who you are and who I am in you. I am not abandoned. I am not exposed. I am not destined to fail. I am covered. I am chosen. I am led by the one who calms storms with a word. Lord, I ask you to flood every fearful place in me with your truth. Replace the lies I have believed with the promises I forgot. Drown out the voice of fear with the clarity of your whisper. Let courage rise, not as the absence of fear, but as the refusal to bow to it. Let peace return, not as a fragile feeling, but as a firm foundation. Let me walk forward not because everything is clear, but because you are trustworthy. Fear has made me shrink myself. It has made me delay obedience. It has silenced dreams. It has choked hope, but no more. Today, I speak freedom over every part of me that fear has tried to control. I speak movement where fear said freeze. I speak forward motion where fear said stay small. I speak light where fear said hide. I declare that my life will no longer be shaped by dread or doubt, but by trust in the one who is greater than every what if. Let your voice be louder than the one that has echoed in my mind for too long. Let your presence become the answer to every anxious thought. When I start to spiral, catch me quickly and pull me back to stillness. When I begin to retreat, remind me that you go before me. When I hesitate, fill my lungs with breath and my heart with bravery. You are not pushing me into danger. You are calling me into deeper places with you. And even if fear visits again, as I know it might, I will not let it unpack and stay. I will recognize it for what it is. A distraction, not a direction. I will remember that boldness is not something I conjure up, but something I receive from you. I will remember that courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to trust despite it. And I will remember that you have never failed to meet me when I have chosen to walk forward in faith. God, let this be the morning that changes how I respond. Let this be the shift in my inner world where fear no longer holds the pen that writes my story. Let this be the place where I reclaim what fear tried to steal my voice. My strength, my freedom to believe. Let this be the chapter where faith grows louder, stronger, more certain, not because I have mastered fear, but because I have surrendered it to you. You are not watching me from a distance, waiting for me to prove myself. You are right here, guiding, steadying, speaking life into the spaces fear once ruled. You are rewriting my reactions, replacing dread with delight, panic with peace, hesitation with hope. You are not disappointed in my struggle. You are proud of my turning. And I can sense now that even this fight with fear has brought me closer to the heart of who you are. You are not only the God of victories, but the God of process, the God of the in-between, the God of the moments where I choose to take one step forward when fear tells me to stay still. So I will keep stepping. I will keep surrendering. I will keep letting your truth shape what fear once distorted, because fear is no longer my master. It may knock, but I do not have to answer. Your perfect love is here, and perfect love always casts out fear. Father, now that I have taken a stand against the voice of fear, now that I have exposed the lies it whispered in the dark, I realize there is still a quiet space waiting to be filled, and I do not want to fill it with more striving or second-guessing. I want to fill it with hope, not the fragile kind that comes and goes depending on circumstances, but the kind that anchors the soul when everything else feels uncertain, the kind that dares to believe in what is not yet visible. Hope, for me, has not always come easily. There have been seasons where hoping felt too dangerous, where it seemed safer to lower expectations and avoid disappointment. I have learned how to prepare for the worst, how to steady my heart for heartbreak, how to build walls around my longings so that if things fell apart, at least I would not fall with them. But you never asked me to live like that. You never invited me into a life of guarded faith. You asked me to trust you fully even when the outcome is unknown. God, I want to learn again how to hope like a child, to believe without bargaining, to wait without bitterness, to trust without needing guarantees. I want to lay down the armor I have worn in the name of wisdom, but which was really just weariness. I want to let hope rise, not as a fantasy, but as a choice. A steady, stubborn choice to believe that what is ahead of me holds more than what is behind, that you are not done writing my story, that the best parts have not passed me by. Let my heart be set on hope, not because I know what will happen, but because I know who you are. You are the God who breathes life into dry bones, who brings beauty from ashes, who speaks light into the dark. You are the one who turns mourning into dancing, who plants gardens in deserted places, who opens doors no one can shut. You are the God who restores, who renews, who redeems. And if that is who you are, then hope is never a wasted thing. So today, I lift my eyes higher. I let hope rise like the sun does slowly, steadily, intentionally. I speak hope into the corners of my mind where doubt has lingered. I speak hope over the places in my life that still feel unresolved. I speak hope over my future, even when it remains a mystery. I speak hope over the prayers that have not yet been answered, over the dreams that have not yet come to life, over the healing that has not yet come. I do not need everything to make sense for hope to be real. I do not need proof before I plant my faith again. I simply need to believe that you are good, and that your goodness does not change with my circumstances. I need to believe that you are near, and that your nearness is not determined by my emotions. I need to believe that what you have started in me, you will be faithful to finish, even if I cannot see the full picture yet. Lord, protect this hope within me. Let it be resilient. Let it be bold. Let it be rooted so deeply in your character that no delay can uproot. Let it grow stronger with every passing day, not weaker. Let it be my anthem when I am tempted to settle, to give up, to back away. Let it be the fire in my prayers, the steadiness in my waiting, the confidence in my voice. And when the world tries to steal it through headlines, through fear, through comparison, remind me again of what I know to be true. That hope in you is never misplaced. That hope in you does not disappoint. That hope in you is not naive. It is brave. It does not ignore reality. It confronts it with a higher one. It says, yes, this is hard, but God is greater. Yes, I do not know the way, but He does. Yes, I have been waiting, but the delay is not the end. There are places in me still waiting to be restored, promises still waiting to be fulfilled, prayers still hanging in the quiet. But even here, even now, I will choose hope, not because the story has resolved, but because you are the author. Not because I understand the delay, but because you are never late. Not because I have seen the answer, because I trust the one who holds it. Let this day be marked by that trust. Let my steps be guided by the certainty that you are with me, and you are for me. Let my words carry the fragrance of someone who has chosen to believe again. Let my life be shaped by hope, not because everything is easy, but because I believe you are at work in all things, especially the things I cannot control. I surrender the need to know when or how. I choose instead to rest in the truth that you are present in the now. I choose to walk with the quiet confidence that my waiting is not wasted, that every moment lived in hope is a moment planted in good soil, and in time, it will bear fruit. Teach me how to hold both reality and expectation. Teach me how to see what is without losing sight of what could be. Teach me how to live with an open heart, even when it has been bruised before. Teach me how to carry joy as a declaration of faith, not just a reaction to circumstances. Let my hope be a light for others, to a signal that you are still moving, still healing, still answering. I know now that hope is not a weak thing. It is a warrior, a steady, quiet strength that refuses to be silenced by delay, a patient declaration that goodness is coming, even when the road feels long. So I welcome it, I choose it, I build my day on it, and in doing so, I trust that something deep within me is shifting. Not because everything has changed around me, but because something is being awakened within me. And that is enough for today, to hope again, to trust again, to walk forward with my heart set on you. Lord, if hope has begun to stir again in my soul, if I have dared to believe there is more ahead than what I have seen behind, then why do I still find myself facing places where the road suddenly disappears? I look forward with expectation only to meet detours I did not anticipate, walls I did not build, and doors I cannot seem to open no matter how hard I try. And even with hope alive in me, I still feel that sting, the ache that comes when progress halts and I am left standing before what feels like a dead end. Father, I want to trust you here, in this moment when it feels like the path I thought I was supposed to take has crumbled beneath my feet. I want to believe that blocked roads are not the end of the story, but part of how you are writing it. That what feels like rejection may really be protection. That delay does not mean denial. That redirection does not mean you have changed your mind about me or the promises you have whispered to my heart. But I will be honest, this space is hard. It is hard to move with confidence and run straight into a wall. It is hard to pray with faith and feel like the heavens go quiet. It is hard to dream and plan and build, only to find the foundation was not yet yours to begin with. I want to make peace with these detours, but part of me is still fighting for the original map, the plan I had held so tightly. Believing it was from you, God, help me loosen my grip on the things you never asked me to carry this far. Help me release my stubborn attachment to a plan that no longer fits where you are leading me. Help me see the closed gate not as punishment, but as your kindness, guiding me to higher ground, to better soil, to a different horizon that I cannot yet see. You are not cruel. You do not lead me to disappointment just to watch me unravel. You redirect because you love too deeply to let me settle for what will not last. And so, even here, even now, I choose to look again. I choose to turn my gaze from the wall in front of me to the sky above me. Maybe the path is not forward, but around. Maybe the direction is not ahead, but deeper. Maybe what looks like a stop is really a shift. And if you are the one guiding me, then I do not need to fear a new way. I need only to follow. You have done this before. I remember now. I remember how you led the Israelites to the edge of the Red Sea, not because you made a mistake, but because you planned a miracle. I remember how you led Paul through prison, not to silence his voice, but to spread it farther than he ever imagined. I remember how you closed the door to one city and opened another, how you let Lazarus die so that resurrection could be seen. You have never been confined by blocked roads. They are your canvas for greater things. Let me see it that way, God. Let me trust that this blocked road is not a failure, not a curse, not a sign that I misheard you. Let me trust that this is just the next chapter unfolding, one that requires more surrender, more faith, more willingness to follow a path I did not plan. I do not need all the answers. I need to be faithful in this moment. I need to say yes to the journey, even when I cannot see the destination. If you are closing doors, then close them completely. Do not let me linger in places where I am no longer meant to stay. Do not let me stare at what was, hoping it will come back to life. When you are calling me to what is ahead, let me move forward, even slowly, even awkwardly, with the confidence that you are already waiting for me in the new direction. If you are opening a new road, even one that feels uncertain, give me the courage to step into it. There is grief in change, Lord, and I bring that grief to you now. The grief of things that did not work out, the grief of dreams that did not come true, the grief of relationships that ended, opportunities that faded, doors that stayed shut no matter how hard I knocked. I give you that sorrow, not because I want to wallow in it, because I want you to carry it with me. I want you to show me how to turn that pain into purpose, how to let the ashes become fertile ground for something new. I do not want to stay stuck in bitterness. I do not want to define my future by what did not happen in the past. I want to live open to the reroutes, open to your whispers, open to the ways you are rebuilding me, reshaping me, positioning me for something that could not have happened any other way. You are not finished with me. This delay is not the end, it is a pivot. And where you lead, I will follow even if I have to learn a new rhythm, a new pace, a new kind of trust. Let this be the day I stop fighting what you have shifted. Let this be the moment I find peace in the unknown. Let this be the hour where I stop staring at closed gates and start seeking your presence in the open field beyond them. I want to walk freely again, not afraid of change, not mourning what is gone, but hopeful for what is coming, because I know you, and I know you waste nothing, not a tear, not a closed door, not even the long, confusing detour. So here I am again, with hands open, heart tender, eyes lifted. I am not asking for the map anymore. I am asking for your hand. I am asking for clarity in the chaos, for stillness in the redirection, for hope that moves me forward. Blocked roads do not mean lost purpose. They mean your timing is still unfolding. Your plan is still forming, and I am still in the middle of a story that is far from over. Whatever you are doing in this space, I will not resist it. Whatever you are writing in this pause, I will not rush it. And whatever you are leading me toward, I will not fear it. You are not just the God who opens doors. You are the God who guides us when they close. You are faithful even in the detour. And I am learning now that maybe the road I did not choose is the road where you will meet me most profoundly. Father, now that I have stopped striving to reopen the closed doors, now that I have made peace with the detours you have allowed, there is still one more weight I need to set down, the one I carry quietly, tightly, as if by holding it hard enough I could change something. It is the timeline, my need to know when, my ache for things to happen now, soon, quickly, my fear that waiting means losing, my impatience disguised as urgency, my silent countdowns, my quiet comparisons, my deep longing to see things fall into place before I run out of time. God, I do not always realize how much I hold on to this invisible clock, how I measure your goodness by how fast things change, how I sometimes believe that slow means forgotten, how I fear that maybe I missed something, delayed something, failed something because it has not happened yet. But I am learning that faith is not just about believing you can do it. It is about trusting that you know when to do it. And maybe the tension I feel inside is not about the dream, it is about the pressure I have placed around its timing. I have whispered prayers like, "How long, Lord?" more times than I have admitted out loud. I have watched the calendar move and wondered why my breakthrough has not come. I have seen others move forward while I remain still, and the waiting has worn on me. I have tried to be patient, but sometimes patience has felt like pretending, like forcing a calmness I do not really feel. But I know now that patience does not have to mean passive. That waiting does not have to be empty. That surrendering my timeline does not mean giving up, it means trusting more deeply. So today, Lord, I release the clock. I place it in your hands, not as a last resort, but as an act of sacred trust. I acknowledge that your understanding of time is not like mine. You are not bound by minutes or months or years. You see my life from beginning to end with perfect clarity, and you are never rushed or delayed. You are not trying to catch up with my desires. You are inviting me to catch up with your peace. Help me to stop demanding that my life unfold according to my schedule. Help me to stop evaluating progress based on how quickly things happen. Teach me the value of slow miracles, the power of seasons that prepare instead of produce, the beauty of transformation that takes time. Remind me that a delayed answer is not a denied one, that you have reasons I cannot yet see, that you are doing something in me, even as I wait for something around me. And Lord, if there is something you are trying to grow in me before the next door opens, let me not rush past it. Let me not despise the process because I am too focused on the promise. If this is the season for roots to grow deep instead of branches to reach high, then let me honor that season. If this is the time for healing, for quiet work, for preparation, then let me lean into it fully instead of wishing it away. You have made everything beautiful in its time, not in my time, but in yours. And that means there is beauty even in this moment. Right now, where nothing looks finished, That means you are shaping something I cannot yet perceive. That means the pressure I have felt to be farther along is not from you. You are not disappointed in how long this is taking. You are not comparing my pace to anyone else's. You are with me in this exact step, this exact breath, this exact unfolding. So I open my hands now. I release the schedule I have been clinging to. I let go of the expectation that by this date, at this age, in this season, things had to look a certain way. I lay down the lists I have written in my mind by 30, by next year, by this time. I stop bargaining with you, stop trying to earn acceleration, stop resenting where I am. Instead, I rest in the truth that you are not just concerned with destination. You are invested in who I am becoming along the way. Let my heart find freedom in that. Let me breathe easier knowing I am not behind, that I have not failed simply because I have not arrived. That life is not about checking off milestones, but following you moment by moment. You are not measuring my worth by how quickly I move. You are shaping something eternal, something holy, something lasting. And that kind of work cannot be rushed. So I wait not as someone who is missing out, but as someone who is being made ready. I wait with hope, with faith, with growing peace. I wait knowing that when the time is right, nothing will be able to stop what you have planned. And when it is not yet time, nothing I do will be able to force it. I wait because I trust you, not just for what you do, but for when you choose to do it. I ask you to calm the anxious timelines that keep me at night, the ones that say I should be more, should have more, should do more by now. Replace those lies with the truth that you are never late, that you see me, that you are working in ways I cannot comprehend, that you are moving things into place at a pace that protects, preserves, and prepares. God, if I am going to wait, let me wait well. Let me wait with my eyes open to wonder, with my ears tuned to your whispers, with my soul anchored in your faithfulness. Let me find joy in this step, not just in the one I am hoping comes next. Let me celebrate the progress that be measured in numbers or dates, but in deeper trust, softer surrender, and a steadier walk with you. And if ever I am tempted to pull the timeline back into my hands, remind me of who you are. You are the God who created time, not the God constrained by it. You are the one who holds all things together, not just my future, but my present too. You are never rushed, never uncertain, never surprised. You know exactly what I need, when I need it, and how to bring it in a way that lasts. So today I walk slowly, intentionally, fully. I do not rush this morning. I do not chase after answers. I do not strain to make something happen. I simply walk beside you, trusting that each moment surrendered is a step toward something beautiful. And though I may not know the timing, I know the one who does, and that is enough. Father, now that I have surrendered my grip on time, now that I have laid down my desperate need to rush toward results, I feel a new awareness rising in me, not just of where I am, but of what you are doing within me. And it is not always gentle. There is a kind of breaking that does not shatter me completely, but it stretches me, presses me, reshapes me in ways I did not ask for. And yet somehow, even in the discomfort, I can sense your nearness. Can feel that this breaking is not meant to harm me, but to form me. Lord, I did not always understand how healing could begin with breaking. I thought healing would come softly, through rest and comfort. But sometimes healing begins with the sharp edge of truth, the unsettling awareness that something within me needs to be undone before it can be made whole. And lately, I have felt that undoing, the unearthing of patterns I did not want to see, the surfacing of wounds I thought were already healed, the friction between who I was and who you are calling me to be. It is painful to see myself clearly, to confront the places where bitterness still hides, where insecurity still speaks too loudly, where pride still resists surrender. But you do not expose those places to shame me. You bring them into the light so you can heal them. And healing, real healing, is not about pretending I am fine. It is about letting you touch the places I have kept guarded for too long. There are parts of me that still flinch when pressed, tender places that ache when I am reminded of past losses, past words, past wounds that linger under the surface. And in this season, it feels like you are allowing the pressure to come not to crush me, but to reveal what has been hidden, not to punish, but to purify. You are the potter, and I am the clay. And I am learning that your hands do not tremble. You shape with intention. You press with purpose. Let me not resist this work, God. Let me not push away the discomfort just because it stings. Let me lean into it, trusting that you know exactly how much pressure to apply, that you are working not just on my circumstances, but within my character, that this breaking is not the end, is the beginning of something stronger, something freer, something more whole than I have ever known. Strip away what does not belong. Break off the attachments that are holding me back. Burn away the lies I have accepted as truth. Peel back the layers I have used to protect myself, but that only kept me isolated. Remove what needs to go, even if I do not fully understand why. I do not want to carry forward what was never meant to stay. I do not want to preserve what was only meant to be temporary. I want to be made new not just on the outside, but from the inside out. And I know that healing does not always feel like progress. Sometimes it feels like unraveling. Sometimes it feels like weakness. But you see farther than I do. You see the version of me that I cannot yet imagine. You see the growth that is happening beneath the surface, the strength that is being formed in quiet places, the beauty that is rising from broken pieces. You are not in a hurry to fix me. You are committed to transforming me. Lord, I offer you every cracked part of me. The sharp edges I have tried to dull on my own, the broken dreams I have tried to hide, the deep disappointments that settled in my soul like dust. I give them to you, not to be discarded, but to be redeemed. You do not throw away broken things. You gather them, bless them, and build again. You are the master of restoration. And if you are willing to do that work in me, then I will not be afraid of the breaking. Even in this process, I feel you speaking not in loud declarations, but in steady assurance. You remind me that broken ground is where seeds grow best, that cracked vessels let the light shine through, that weakness is where your strength is made perfect. And I begin to see that maybe I do not need to be held together so tightly. Maybe it is okay to fall apart in your presence, knowing you are not put off by my mess. You meet me in it. You kneel beside me. You gather the pieces, not to erase the pain, but to shape it into something purposeful. Help me to hold still under your hands. When my instinct is to escape the discomfort, to numb the ache, to rush the process, slow me down. Remind me that this kind of healing cannot be microwaved. It is sacred. It is slow. It is steady. It takes time for scars to soften, for muscles to rebuild, for hearts to open again. And I want to heal in the way that lasts. Not just the way that looks quick from the outside. Even when it feels like nothing is changing, let me trust that something is shifting within. That you are aligning my heart with truth. That you are teaching me how to breathe again without fear. That you are forming in me a resilience that does not depend on my ability to keep everything under control. That you are creating a strength that is gentle, a confidence that is rooted in grace, a peace that does not tremble at pain. And God, if healing requires me to forgive again, to release again, to let go again, then show me how. Show me how to stop rehearsing what hurt me. Show me how to stop building walls around my heart. Show me how to trust that you will protect me better than self-defense ever could. Teach me that forgiveness is not permission for what happened, but permission for me to live free. You are not asking for perfection. You are asking for permission. And today, I give you mine. I give you permission to go deep, to clean out the corners I have neglected, to dismantle the beliefs I have built on pain, to remake me not into someone who looks like they have it all together, but into someone who knows where to run when they fall apart. So here I am, open to the breaking, open to the refining, open to the holy discomfort that leads to lasting freedom. I will not harden myself to avoid the pain. I will not shut down my emotions just to feel safe. I will feel it all, because you are in it all. And you are doing something good with even this. This breaking is not the end of me. It is the beginning of something sacred, and I trust you to hold every piece, every tear, every tender part that is being made new. Not rushed, not forced, just healed deeply, truly, gently by the hands of the one who sees everything and still chooses to stay. Father, now that I have begun to surrender to the deep healing you are doing in me, now that I have stopped hiding the broken places and started trusting your hands to shape me again, something unexpected begins to surface, a question I did not realize had been echoing in my soul. Who am I now? Who am I without the pain that once defined me? The failures I could not forget? The patterns I have started to leave behind? I realize I have carried old names for too long, names given by wounds, by critics, by seasons of darkness that told me I was too much or not enough. I have lived under labels that never came from you, labels that spoke of shame, rejection, fear, and defeat. I let those names sink in deep until I wore them like skin. And even though you have been healing me, even though I have laid so much at your feet, this is the moment where I sense you whispering something more. You want to rename me. God, I do not want to live by names that lie. I do not want to repeat old stories that no longer fit who I am becoming in you. I do not want to be defined by the worst things I have done or the hardest things I have been through. I want to be defined by what you say, by who you see, by the identity that has always existed in your heart before the pain, before the failures, before the masks I have learned to wear just to survive. So I ask you now, with trembling expectation, speak over me again. Call me by the name you gave me before the world tried to rename me. Call me by the identity written into my bones when you knit me together in secret. Remind me who I am, not based on my performance, but based on your presence, not built on my past, but on your purpose. I have heard voices that told me I was not lovable. I have believed voices that said I would always be too broken to change. I have accepted silence from those who should have spoken, and noise from those who never should have had the power to define me. But your voice, God, your voice has always been the one that speaks life, speaks light, speaks freedom. I want to hear that voice above every other. I need to be reminded that I am not the sum of my mistakes, that I am not the echo of someone else's pain, that I am not locked in the narrative of who I used to be. You are rewriting my story, not erasing it, but redeeming it. You are showing me that even the messy chapters have a place in the book you are authoring. And with every breath, you are declaring that I am yours. Let the truth settle deeper than the shame. Let your words become the foundation I build my life on. Let every name I once wore unworthy, forgotten, failure, outsider fall to the ground and never rise again. Let the name you give rise in its place. Beloved, chosen, redeemed, called, new. These are not just words. They are declarations from the one who cannot lie. Lord, I ask you to silence every voice that speaks against the identity you have given me. Silence the inner critic that replays old regrets. Silence the enemy who tries to pull me back into guilt and insecurity. Silence the culture that measures value by appearance, success, or performance. And instead, let me hear your whisper, constant, steady, and clear, telling me who I truly am. I know now that you never wait for perfection to call someone by their true name. You renamed Abraham before he became Abraham. You called Gideon a mighty warrior while he was hiding. You named Peter a rock while he was still shaky. You do not speak based on who we are in the moment, but based on who you already see us becoming. And I believe you see more in me than I have ever dared to believe for myself. So I stand here today, not with confidence in who I have been, but in who you say I am. I may still feel the residue of old labels clinging to me, but I am choosing to receive a new name. I am choosing to speak it over myself. I am choosing to see myself through your eyes that look beyond the surface, beyond the scars, beyond the stumbling steps, eyes that see a child worth redeeming, worth restoring, worth calling home again and again. God, I ask you to renew not just my identity, but my voice. Let me speak differently about myself. Let me stop cursing what you have blessed. Let me stop diminishing what you are calling forth. Let me speak words that agree with your promises. Let my inner dialogue sound more like faith than fear, more like grace than judgment, more like truth than doubt. Let my self-perception be rooted not in comparison, but in calling. And as I begin to walk in this new identity, show me how to live it with humility. Let it not become pride, but gratitude. Let it not become pressure, but peace. Let it not lead to striving, but to resting in the reality that I do not have to earn what you have already freely given. I am already accepted, already chosen, already loved, already named. And now, I simply want to live like that is true. When I forget again, as I surely will, remind me gently. When I start to pick up old names again, help me release them quickly. When others try to put their labels on me, let your voice be louder still. Let me build my days on the foundation of your truth. Let me walk into every space aware that I carry your identity, your spirit, your promise. Let me reflect the grace that renamed me. Let me carry the beauty of someone who has been written by love. I may not fully know who I am becoming yet, but I know the one who is forming me. And if you are the author of my story, then I know the ending will be good. Not because I will be perfect, but because I will be yours. Always yours. And that is the truest name of all. Lord, now that I am beginning to hear your voice rewriting who I am, now that you are calling me by names soaked in grace instead of shame, I find myself looking back over the landscape of my life, especially the barren stretches, the dry seasons, the times I would have given anything to skip. I once thought of them as detours, setbacks, even punishments. But something is shifting in me now. I am beginning to see that maybe those wilderness places were not wasted after all. Father, I confess I have often resented the wilderness. I have questioned why you would lead me through such lonely and difficult terrain. I have looked at the dry ground beneath my feet and wondered how anything good could come from it. I have begged for shortcuts, for relief, for water in a land that felt endless in its silence. But now, in this moment of deeper reflection, I realize that the wilderness was not empty. It was filled with lessons I did not know I needed, and gifts I did not know how to name. You never abandoned me in those seasons. You walked beside me, even when I did not recognize your steps. And while I was desperate for the next chapter, you were forming something eternal within me. I see it now, not everything, not every reason, but enough to know that growth was happening, even when I felt stuck. You were training my ears to hear in silence, strengthening my faith when answers did not come quickly, humbling me in ways I did not want but deeply needed. There were days when the heat of trial felt unbearable, when each morning felt like an echo of the day before, when progress seemed invisible. But the wilderness was never about production, it was about presence. You were not rushing me through to the next mountaintop. You were teaching me to find you in the middle of the ordinary. in the middle of discomfort, in the stillness between miracles. God, I ask you to help me look back on those seasons, not with bitterness, but with reverence. To see the moments I once labeled as wasted as holy ground. To recognize that those quiet days were not blank pages, but sacred chapters you were writing with intentionality. Maybe I did not bloom like I expected, but maybe you were cultivating something deeper roots that would hold in future storms. Endurance that would not fade with time. Trust that no longer depended on sight. Teach me how to honor the wilderness, not just survive it, not just talk about it once it is over, but to recognize its purpose even while I am still walking through it. Let me find beauty in barren places, not because they are easy, but because you are present. Let me notice the small signs of life, the subtle shifts in my spirit, the hidden wells of strength I did not know were there. I do not want to keep measuring the value of a season by what it produces externally. I want to trust that anything led by your hand has meaning, even when the fruit is not visible. I want to stop comparing my journey to someone else's, especially when I feel like they are blooming while I am still wandering. The wilderness is not a punishment. It is a classroom. And you, my good shepherd, have been teaching me how to walk slower, listen deeper, and live more simply in your presence. Thank you for being patient with me in the wilderness, for staying when I was restless, for whispering when I demanded thunder, for gently guiding me when all I could do was stumble. Thank you for the lessons. I only now understand the ones about surrender, about stillness, about how to trust when the map disappears and the familiar is stripped away. And if I find myself in that wilderness again, because I know life moves in cycles and seasons, let me remember what I have learned here. Let me walk into the next dry season with less fear and more awareness. Let me carry the memory of your nearness, the evidence of how you met me before, the certainty that no valley is too low for your grace to reach. Let me walk with open hands, knowing that what seems like delay is often divine development. Father, if the wilderness is where you form hearts to hold your promise, then I do not want to rush past it. I want to receive all it has to offer, even the hard parts, even the silence, even the slow, because I know that if you led me here, you will lead me through. And if I leave this place with more humility, more resilience, more clarity about who you are, then it was never wasted. You do not waste pain. You do not waste waiting. You do not waste the seasons where I feel hidden. You see what is growing underground. You see what is being healed beneath the surface. You see the foundation you are building that no one else notices. And one day, what has been hidden will be revealed. One day, what felt dry will give birth to beauty. One day, the wilderness will become testimony. But even before that day comes, I will praise you for the process. I will bless you in the dry land. I will believe that even here, you are God. You are enough, and I am not alone. I may not know the timeline, but I know the teacher, and that changes everything. So let me be present in this season, whether it is short or long. Let me find rhythm in the walking, wonder in the silence, and strength in the simplicity of daily dependence on you. Let me wake up each morning with gratitude for manna, whatever form it comes in. Let me rest each night knowing I am kept, even when I feel undone. Let me see the wilderness not as a detour, but as a holy invitation to know you in a way I never would have known if everything had gone according to my plan. Because even desert soil can bloom in your hands. Even dry places can carry seeds of promise. Even wilderness seasons can carry the fragrance of glory. And if that is what you are doing here, I will stay. I will listen. I will believe. Not just for what is coming, but for what is happening even now quietly. Faithfully, deeply inside this sacred stretch of land where nothing is wasted when it is placed in your hands. Father, after walking through the wilderness with you, after finding meaning in places I once thought were void of purpose, I sense something quieter awakening in me, a new longing, not just to speak to you, but to truly hear you, not only to hear words, but to receive the gentle nudges, the sacred whisper, the subtle shift that reminds me you are near. I realize how much of my life has been shaped by noise, external pressures, internal dialogues, demands that keep spinning even when I am still. But in the stillness you have led me to, I am learning again how to listen. Lord, I confess that it has been easier at times to talk than to wait, easier to ask than to sit in silence, easier to fill space with my voice than to risk the quiet where yours might speak. But I do not want to rush anymore. I do not want to treat prayer as a monologue. I want to know you as the one who speaks into the hush, who meets me in the moment between my last word and my next breath. You are not loud, and yet you are never unclear. You are not always quick to answer, but you are always faithful to respond. I want to become more familiar with the rhythm of your presence. I want to tune my inner life to the frequency of your spirit. Teach me how to listen, not just with my ears, but with my heart. Let me become sensitive to your leading, even when it is gentle, even when it does not come with signs or certainty. I have spent too many seasons chasing clarity through control. I have strained to hear what I wanted, instead of waiting to receive what you were actually saying. But I see now that hearing you is not about effort, is about surrender. It is not about volume, it is about intimacy. You do not compete for attention. You invite me to draw close, to turn aside from the noise, to lean in and wait. So I turn down the volume today. I lay down the pressure to figure everything out. I shut off the running commentary that replays old fears and future what-ifs. I set aside the need to fill every moment with activity or answers. I make space not because I am trying to earn your voice, but because I want to honor it. I want to hear you like Elijah did, not in the wind, not in the earthquake, not in the fire, but in the still, small whisper that came after everything else was quiet. God, let me recognize that whisper when it comes. Let me not miss it, because I was waiting for something louder, something grand. Let me notice the sacred in the ordinary, the peace that comes unexpectedly, the idea that arrives like a gentle wave, conviction that stirs softly but surely in my chest. These are the ways you often speak, and I do not want to overlook them anymore. Train my ears to distinguish your voice from all others. The voice of shame may sound urgent, but it is not yours. The voice of fear may shout, but it does not carry your tone. The voice of comparison may distract, but it cannot speak what only you can. Let your voice be the one that steadies me, the one that calls me by name without accusation, the one that reminds me who I am when I forget, the one that leads me not with force, but with kindness. And if I ever wonder whether I am hearing you clearly, let my heart return to your word. Let it be my anchor when my feelings are unsure. Let it remind me that you never contradict yourself, that the voice of the Good Shepherd will always sound like love, like wisdom, like peace, that your spirit will never lead me where your grace keep me, that your whisper will always point me closer to you, not farther from your truth. Let this day be shaped by that kind of awareness. Let me move slowly enough to notice what you are doing. Let me pause often enough to check in with your spirit. Let me walk lightly, holding each plan and each moment with open hands, ready to pivot if you speak otherwise. I want to live responsive, not reactive, rooted, not restless. I want to carry a stillness within that does not depend on silence around me, but on knowing I am connected to you. There is something so sacred about being attuned to you. It changes how I see everything. It helps me notice beauty I would have rushed past. It makes me more present to the people around me. It keeps me grounded when life pulls in different directions. It brings meaning to the mundane and depth to the days that might otherwise feel empty. Reminds me that I am never truly alone, even in quiet moments. Father, awaken my spiritual senses again. Sharpen my discernment. Let my heart beat in rhythm with yours. Let me become so familiar with the sound of your whisper that I can recognize it even in a crowd, even in chaos. Let it be the thread I follow when I am unsure. Let it be the light I lean into when the path is dim. Let it be the comfort that calms me when the world grows loud. And as I listen, help me to respond, not just to hear, but to obey, not just to notice, but to follow. Even if the instruction is small, even if it is inconvenient, even if it does not make sense at first, I trust that your voice will never lead me where your presence cannot sustain me. I trust that when you speak, it is always for my good, even if it stretches me beyond what feels comfortable. I want to live that way, led by your spirit, not driven by fear, guided by your peace, not pushed by pressure, centered in your truth, not swayed by noise. And I believe that the more I learn to listen, the more clearly I will know which steps to take, which words to speak, which burdens to release. I do not need to hear everything at once. I just need to hear what you are saying now, and trust that it will be enough for today. So I quiet myself in this moment. I turn my heart toward you again. I choose to lean in, to wait, to trust that the God who speaks in whispers is also the God who moves mountains, and that hearing you, truly hearing you, is the beginning of walking in peace, in purpose, and in power. Lord, when the voice becomes quiet and the way ahead is wrapped in shadow, I find myself drawn deeper into trust. It is not the trust built on certainty or the kind born from visible signs, but the kind that grows only in the dark, where I cannot see the path, but still choose to believe you are guiding my steps. the kind that holds steady not because it understands, but because it remembers who you are. I come to you now in that space, not fully sure of what is ahead, but wanting to walk forward anyway, with hands open and heart soft. I sense that you are still here, not because I feel a strong wind or see a great light, but because even in this stillness, there is peace. Even in the waiting, there is purpose. I am learning to see trust as an act of surrender, not a sign of weakness. Trust does not require me to have answers, only the courage to follow the one who does. Father, I have chased clarity more times than I can count. I have looked for signs and confirmation in places you never asked me to look. I have tried to map out what comes next, to control the unfolding of what was never mine to manage. But in doing so, I have often missed the sacred invitation to simply be still and know, to stop striving and start believing, to let go of needing to know and find rest in being known. You remind me that your ways are higher than mine, that your timing is not bound by my clocks or calendars, that what feels like delay is often protection, that what feels like silence is sometimes the soil where trust is planted and watered until it grows deep and unshakable. I want to live with that kind of trust, Lord, not just in the easy seasons when everything flows, but in the hard places where nothing seems to move. Help me not to resist the seasons of unknowing. Help me to stand steady even when the next step is hidden. I do not need to see the whole road if I can hold your hand for the next step. Teach me that clarity is not always the goal. Sometimes it is the journey of walking with you in faith, not sight, that transforms me. It is the daily practice of choosing you, even when nothing around me makes sense. You are not a God of confusion. You are not the author of fear. When I feel uncertain, help me to separate my emotions from your truth. Remind me that trust is not built on my feelings. It is anchored in your character. You are good. You are wise. You are kind. You do not abandon. You do not forget. You do not lead into emptiness. Every road you call me down is one that leads closer to your heart, even if it takes me through wilderness first. And if the road leads through disappointment, let me know you are still in it. If it takes me through detours I did not plan, let me believe you can still use them. If I trip, if I fall, if I turn back in fear, let me hear you calling me gently forward again, not with condemnation, but with compassion. You are the shepherd who leaves the 99 to find the one. And even when I lose sight of you, you never lose sight of me. There is something freeing in that truth. I do not have to pretend I have it all figured out. I do not have to rush ahead of your timing or manufacture outcomes to feel secure. My security is in you, not in the plan, not in the answers, but in the presence that walks with me, one step at a time. Let that become my confidence today. Even if others do not understand why I wait, even if the world demands progress and movement and constant achievement, let me choose stillness when you say wait, and movement when you say go. Let me stop comparing my timeline to theirs. Let me find peace in the pace you set for me. Some roads are longer because the view at the end is worth the patience it took to get there. Lord, quiet the voices that urge me to rush. Calm the anxiety that rises when I do not know what is next. Silence the fears that whisper, I am falling behind. I do not want to run someone else's race. I do not want to chase shadows or compete for meaning. I want to walk with you, to go where you go, to rest when you rest, to trust that when you lead, it is always with intention, even when the destination is still unseen. If I must wait in this season, let me wait well. Let me wait with hope. Not resignation. With expectation. Not discouragement. Let me use this time not to count what I lack, but to lean more fully into who you are. Let me see the waiting as a gift, a space where you are shaping something in me that could not be rushed. I do not want to waste this place by wishing it away too soon. And in the places where decisions must be made and no clear answer presents itself, help me to trust that you can work through both open doors and closed ones. That I cannot miss your will if I am seeking your heart. That you are able to redirect, to realign, to restore, no matter what path I choose. As long as I choose it with a heart surrendered to you, you are not limited by my uncertainty. You do not abandon me to confusion. You lead gently, faithfully, patiently. So today I lay down my maps and my timelines. I trade the need to know for the peace of simply being held. I choose trust again, even when the road wins unexpectedly. I choose surrender, even when my hands would rather grasp. I choose to believe that this step, even if small, even if shaky, is still sacred when it is made with you. Let this be enough for now, that you are here, that you see me, that you go before me, that you walk beside me, that nothing is wasted, not even the wondering, that you are writing a story more beautiful than the one I would have scripted, one that unfolds not in perfect clarity, but in perfect love. Father, when I wake with the weight of yesterday still clinging to my chest, I find myself reaching not for answers, but for strength, and not the kind I can muster on my own, but the kind that flows from you when mine runs out. As I continue forward from that place of surrendered trust, I bring you the fatigue I dare not admit to anyone else, the tiredness beneath the surface, the heaviness that quiets my laughter and slows my steps. You see it all, Lord. Even what I try to hide behind my determined smile or my measured pace. You see how much I want to be strong for others, how I press on even when my spirit whispers it is too much. And yet you are not asking me to carry this alone. You are not watching from a distance, waiting for me to prove my worth by how much I can endure. You are near, inviting me to let your strength be my anchor and your presence my renewal. There is no shame in being weary. There is no failure in needing help. You remind me that even the strongest grow tired, but those who wait upon you will rise again, will soar on wings like eagles, will run and not grow faint. That is what I long for today, not just the strength to get through, but the strength to rise above the weight of my own weakness, the strength to hope when things still feel heavy, the strength to love when I feel emptied, the strength to choose peace over panic and stillness over striving. I do not need to have it all together to be in your presence. I do not have to pretend to be unshaken. In fact, you draw near to the brokenhearted. You come close to the ones who cry out in silence. You fill the empty hands, not the clenched fists. You do not demand perfection. You delight in dependence. And so I give you my weariness as an offering, believing that what I lay down in surrender, you lift in grace. Lord, remind me that true strength does not always roar. Sometimes it is the quiet decision to keep going when I feel like quitting. Sometimes it is the grace to rest, the wisdom to step back, the humility to ask for help. Let me not define strength the way the world does by what is loud, fast, or outwardly impressive. Let me see it as you do, measured in perseverance, in faithfulness, in choosing joy even in shadows. If my body is tired, restore it. If my mind is restless, calm it. If my heart feels stretched, hold it gently in your hands. I do not need to be heroic, I just need to be held. And you, Father, are the one who upholds the weary and steadies the trembling. You are my source, not only when I overflow with energy, but especially when I am at the end of myself. You are the strength beneath my surrender. Help me stop measuring my value by how productive I have been or how much I have achieved. Your love for me was never performance-based. You never asked me to earn your presence, only to enter into it. You do not love the version of me that gets it all right. You love the real me, the one who stumbles, weeps, tries, fails, and gets up again with shaking knees and hopeful eyes. So I will not despise the places where I feel weak, for they remind me I am human, and you are God. They remind me that grace meets me not at the mountaintop of my strength, but in the valley where I am on my knees. They remind me that you are most near, not when I pretend to be unbreakable, but when I offer you my broken pieces without shame. There is a kind of beauty in this sacred exchange of weakness for power, heaviness for hope. It does not always look like triumph on the outside. Sometimes it looks like quiet resilience, like continuing to show up with an open heart, like choosing faithfulness in a hidden moment that no one sees but you. But in those moments, you are building a strength in me that no storm can destroy. Teach me to honor the limits you have placed in me, not as a curse, but as a gentle invitation to rely on you. Let me pace my life by grace, not pressure. Let me leave space for rest without guilt. Let me find in the slowing down not a loss of purpose, but a recovery of soul. You modeled rest when you walked the earth not as weakness, but as wisdom. You pulled away from crowds to pray. You napped in storms. You knew that being poured out requires being filled up first. Today, fill me again. I do not ask to be invincible, I ask to be grounded. I do not ask to be constantly full of energy, I ask to be constantly anchored in you. And when others around me are also walking through weariness, let me become a vessel of your gentleness. Let me offer what you have given me, a listening heart, a word of comfort, a quiet presence that reminds them they are not alone. Because in this walk of faith, we carry each other when needed. We speak life when another forgets their worth. We lift each other's arms when they have grown tired to raise them alone. That, too, is strength, the willingness to link arms with those around us and keep walking toward you together. Even if we are limping, even if we are bruised, even if we are slow. And so I step into this day with the quiet courage that does not shout, but endures, I will not despise my weariness, for it brings me closer to the source. I will not mask my struggle, for it opens me to receive comfort. I will not hide my humanity, for in it you reveal your divinity. Let your power be made perfect in my weakness, so that when others look at me, they do not see someone who is always strong, they see someone who is always held. Let that be my testimony today. Not that I always rise with ease, but that I always rise with you. That even in moments of exhaustion, I am never forsaken. That even when my strength ends, yours begins. And that is more than enough for this moment, for this breath, for this step forward. Lord, when the noise within me becomes louder than the world around me, I return to you. I come not to escape, but to be still. I come not to suppress what stirs inside, but to lay it before you, raw and unedited. Because after all the striving to stand, I find that what I need most now is not power or plans, but peace, that quiet assurance that I am held, even when I feel unsettled. That holy calm that silences the storm without requiring it to stop. I continue from the place where your strength steadied me, but now I ask for stillness within, for the unshakable peace that you promised, not like the world offers, temporary, transactional, and fragile, but the kind that reaches to the deepest part of who I am, the kind that holds me together when everything else pulls apart, the kind that remains when answers do not come and outcomes are unclear. Father, you know the thoughts that spin through me, the questions that echo in circles, the worries that disguise themselves as preparation. You know how easily I get caught in the rhythm of rushing, in the endless attempts to figure it all out before I even take the next step. But I hear you whispering now, not in thunder, but in the quiet, be still and know that I am God. So I surrender the urge to fix everything. I let go of the weight of needing to have control. You have never asked me to carry what only you can. You invite me to cast my cares, not collect them. You invite me to rest, not because everything is resolved, but because I am resting in you. And somehow, in the middle of uncertainty, you become the still point in my spinning world. Lord, I need that peace today, the one that settles my breathing, slows my racing thoughts, and invites my soul to rest. I need the kind of peace that is not dependent on my circumstances, the kind that shows up in the chaos and wraps me in calm anyway. I need the peace that comes from knowing you are not distant or indifferent, but deeply present in this very moment, aware of every detail I fear, and still saying, I am with you. Remind me that peace is not the absence of conflict, but the presence of trust. Peace is not about everything being perfect. It is about knowing that even when it is not, you are. You are the one who walked on water and calmed the waves, not by removing the sea, but by standing above it. And if you are in my boat, then no storm can sink me. Teach me how to return to this place of inner stillness again and again, not once for all, but every time anxiety rises, every time worry knocks at my door, every time restlessness creeps in dressed as responsibility. Let my first response be not panic, but prayer. Let it become instinct to run to you, not away from the discomfort. Let my soul learn to breathe again, deeply and slowly. In the rhythm of your love, God, help me not to be driven by fear, even when fear feels loud and reasonable. Help me not to be ruled by imagined futures or exaggerated failures. Anchor me in the now, where you are. The present moment is where peace is born, and you are always present. Right here, right now, with me, not in my illusions of what could go wrong, but in the truth of your presence, steady and sure. And when the world pulls at me, trying to drag me into its whirlwind of opinions, demands, and distractions, place a boundary around my heart. Teach me to guard my peace like treasure, to choose it over urgency, to value it over noise, to protect the quiet you have planted inside me, even if that means disappointing the expectations of others. My soul was not made for constant motion, it was made to walk with you. If I must face difficult conversations, give me peace in my words. If I walk into unknown situations, give me peace in my steps. If I sit with grief, unanswered questions, or things I cannot explain, give me peace in the waiting. Let peace not just be something I ask for, but something I carry. A light in me that softens every edge. A presence that fills the room, even when I speak no word. And Father, when I encounter others who are unraveling, remind me to extend the same peace you have given me. Let me be a gentle presence, not someone who rushes to fix, but someone who quietly listens, someone whose calm invites others to breathe. Help me to become a vessel of peace, a walking reminder that stillness is not weakness, and serenity is not passivity, but sacred strength that comes from you. Even when I do not feel it right away, help me believe it is growing in me, that peace is not a product of perfection, but of proximity to you. The more I dwell with you, the more peace becomes who I am, not just what I seek. The more I abide in your word, in your love, in your rhythm of grace, the more my soul finds its equilibrium, not because life is easy, but because you are enough. So I release today all that is unsettled in me, not because I am careless, but I care enough to place it in hands that are steadier than mine. I entrust what I cannot solve. I embrace what I cannot control. I let go of what I do not need to carry. And in return, I open myself to receive the gift that you have already made available, peace that transcends understanding, that does not always change the situation, but always changes me. Let that peace rise gently in me now, like the first light of dawn through a quiet window. Let it warm the places inside that have been cold with worry. Let it stretch across the shadows with soft insistence. Let it become my posture, my lens, my language. Let it be the way I walk through this day, not with clenched fists, but with an open heart, not with shallow breath, but with sacred stillness, not with fear, but with faith that whispers, "You are with me, and that is enough, Lord." You see the bruises that words leave behind, the places no one else notices, because they are not visible to the eye, but they linger, they echo, and sometimes they grow louder in the quiet moments when no one is around to contradict them. Father, I come to you not with strength this morning, but with honesty. I do not pretend that I am unshaken. I bring the places in my heart that have been pierced, whether by careless remarks, cold silences, or voices that should have offered love, but instead spoke rejection. What I need most right now is not a reason why people hurt each other, but the nearness of a God who heals. I do not want to stay tangled in the pain, yet I cannot pretend I am unaffected. The sting of betrayal, the ache of feeling misunderstood, the weight of feeling unseen, these are real burdens. But so is your compassion, and so is your ability to lift what I was never meant to carry alone. God, as I bring you the pain I did not ask for, help me not to turn it into bitterness. Help me not to let someone else's brokenness take root in me as if it were truth. Just because someone failed to speak kindness does not mean I am unworthy of love. Just because someone used their voice to tear down does not mean I have to live in ruins. You are the restorer of my soul, and you rebuild with gentleness, with grace, with infinite care. I choose today to begin letting go of the need to retaliate or prove myself right. It is hard, Father, but you know how human it is to want to match hurt for hurt, silence for silence, coldness for coldness. But I am not called to mirror the wounds of others. I am called to reflect you. And you responded to rejection not with resentment, but with redemption. So I ask you to teach me the art of forgiveness, not as a duty, but as a doorway to peace. Lord, I do not always know how to forgive. Sometimes the pain feels fresher than the choice to release it. But I trust you to walk me through it one step at a time, one memory at a time, one name at a time. Help me bless those who did not bless me. Help me speak well of those who may have wounded me. Help me not to pretend the wound did not happen, but to surrender its power to you. You are the keeper of justice. You are the mender of what has been frayed and frayed again. Even more, help me not to define myself by what was said or what was left unsaid. Remind me that my identity is not rooted in human approval, but in divine love. Let your truth speak louder than any insult, any sarcasm, any passive-aggressive silence. Let your words fill the gaps left by those who did not know how to speak life. Let your voice become the clearest one I hear today, the one that calls me beloved, chosen, held, and never forsaken. Father, if I have become the one whose words wound, if I have spoken from impatience, pride, or insecurity, then search me gently and correct me with mercy. Sometimes the very pain I feel, I unintentionally pass on. Forgive me for the moments when I did not see another's tenderness and spoke too quickly. Forgive me for the silence that may have felt like rejection to someone else. Help me to be aware of the power in my tongue, the responsibility in my voice. Make me a source of healing, not harm. When I open my mouth, let it be with kindness. When I listen, let it be with presence. When I respond, let it be with grace. Not because I feel like it in every moment, but because I have been given grace far greater than I deserve. And I want to live from that overflow, not from the depletion of old wounds. I want my heart to be soft again, not guarded, not cynical, but open and able to feel without crumbling. Soften the places that have hardened in me, Lord. where I have built walls to protect myself. Teach me to place boundaries rooted in wisdom, not fear, where I have rehearsed words I wish I had said, or words I wish I could erase. Teach me to release the past and live in the freedom of now. This moment is sacred, not because it is perfect, but because you are in it. And in this moment, I choose to believe you are healing what I cannot see. If reconciliation is possible, prepare my heart to receive it. If distance is necessary, help me to walk it with dignity, without resentment. Not every wound will be acknowledged by the one who caused it, but every wound can be brought to the one who heals. You waste nothing, Lord, not even heartbreak, and I believe you will weave even this into something that strengthens me, humbles me, and sets me free. Let me no longer carry the heavy things in silence. Let me speak with you freely, even when I do not have eloquent words. You understand tears. You understand sighs too deep for explanation. And even when I cannot form a sentence, you are still listening, still loving, still near. What a gift it is to be known so deeply and loved so completely, that in itself begins to mend what was broken. And Father, let me be a safe place for others who are hurting. Help me to resist the urge to offer quick fixes and instead offer presence, to be patient with their pain, to honor their process, to never underestimate how much healing can come from one gentle response, one look of compassion, one word of hope spoken at the right time. Let me become what I needed in my own valley, a voice of peace, a hand of grace, a heart of quiet understanding. I want to carry kindness into every conversation, not because others always deserve it, because you gave it freely to me when I least deserved it. Your kindness led me to healing. Your patience led me back to peace. Let my life be a mirror of that same mercy, not just in my actions, but in the very atmosphere I bring into a room. So I rise again today, maybe still aching in some places, but willing to love anyway, willing to try again, willing to forgive even if my feelings have not caught up yet, willing to live gently in a world that often forgets how, because I am loved, because I am held, because I am not alone, and because your voice always leads me home. Father, you know how many moments I stand at the edge of what I do not understand and feel the tremble in my soul. The unknown stretches before me like a path covered in fog. I can see where it leads. I can predict what is waiting ahead. And sometimes I freeze. But even now, even here, I bring that fear to you, knowing that you are not only beside me, you are already beyond what I fear. The things that catch me off guard are never a surprise to you. Yesterday's tears may still linger in my heart, but I lift my face to you this morning, asking not for all the answers, but for the courage to keep moving. Lord, I do not want fear to paralyze me or define my steps. I want to walk boldly, even if I walk slowly. I want to trust, even when the road is unmarked. And I want to rest in the truth that you go before me with every breath. I confess that sometimes I try to make peace with control. I cling to plans, routines, timelines, trying to shape life into something predictable. But then a sudden change comes, or the unexpected knocks on the door of my day, and I am reminded that I am not in charge. You are, and that is not a threat, it is a gift, because your ways are higher, and your timing is wiser, even when it does not feel that way. So I release the illusion that I must have it all figured out. I lay down the burden of needing to know every outcome. I surrender the weight of what-ifs and the endless rehearsals of future scenarios that only drain my spirit. You did not ask me to understand everything. You simply asked me to trust you with it. Lord, when I look ahead and see nothing but question marks, remind me of who you have already been. The God who carried me before will carry me again. The one who provided when I had nothing left will provide still. The shepherd who found me in the dark will lead me through the fog. You do not change, even when everything around me does. Give me the grace to walk by faith when I can walk by sight. Teach me to be content with the portion of light you give for today, without demanding to see tomorrow. Help me breathe deeply in uncertainty, not because it is comfortable, but because you are constant. Let peace settle deeper than panic. Let hope outlast the unknown. When my mind wants to spiral into anxious loops, interrupt me with your truth. Whisper into the noise of my fear that I am not abandoned. I am not walking blind. I am not stepping alone. Even when I feel unsure, you are steady. Even when I feel small, you are mighty in me. So I lean into that strength, not my own. Sometimes the unknown carries grief I have not even named yet. Other times it carries opportunity dressed in uncertainty. Either way, teach me to meet it with open hands, not clenched fists, not a heart closed off to new beginnings, but with a quiet confidence that if you brought me here, you will walk me through it. Not quickly, not always smoothly, but faithfully. And Father, in the unknown, keep me from comparison. It is easy to look at someone else's journey and wonder why mine looks different. It is tempting to think they have more clarity, more stability, more blessing. But you have not called me to trace their steps. You have called me to follow yours, and your path for me, though unfamiliar, is not accidental. So even when the horizon is cloudy and I feel like I am standing still, help me to remember that waiting is not wasted. You are doing more in the stillness than I can see. Growth is happening beneath the surface. Roots are deepening even when no fruit is visible. My job is not to rush the process, but to stay connected to you in the middle of it. If today brings decisions I do not feel ready for, steady my heart. If today brings silence when I want clarity, calm my spirit. If today brings detours I did not see coming, walk me through them with grace. Nothing about this day is outside your hands. So let me live it not from fear, but from faith. I do not ask you to make everything easy. I ask you to make me ready. Ready to trust, ready to obey, ready to lean on your wisdom and not my own. Ready to take the next step, even if it is a small one. Because forward is forward. And with you, I do not walk into the unknown, I walk into a day already held by love. Let my prayers today be less about answers and more about alignment. Let my spirit sync with yours. Let my thoughts lean toward truth. not speculation. Let my reactions reflect trust, not tension. I am not defined by what I do not know. I am defined by the one who knows me completely. And Lord, when others around me are also walking through unknowns, help me to offer empathy and not advice. Help me to sit with them in their fear instead of rushing them toward answers. Let my presence be a reminder that we do not have to figure it all out to be faithful. We just have to stay close to you. That is where the peace is. That is where the power is. Even if the unknown stretches on for longer than I expected, help me to stay soft, not bitter, not weary from waiting, but quietly, steadily rooted in you. And when the way forward does begin to clear, let me not forget who carried me through the fog. Let praise rise even before clarity comes. Let gratitude grow even before resolution appears. This is the kind of faith I want, one that trusts without seeing, one that believes even when the outcome is still forming, one that does not need proof to feel peace. I am learning that the greatest strength is not found in knowing what will happen, but in knowing who holds whatever happens. So here I am, Lord, not with certainty, but with surrender, not with control, but with confidence in you, not in me. You are already there, beyond what I fear, beyond what I hope. And this morning, that is enough, Lord. Sometimes I wake up and realize I have not truly felt your nearness in days. Not because you have changed, not because you have hidden yourself, but because something inside me grew quiet, distant, and tired. It is not always loud rebellion that creates the gap. Sometimes it is just the slow fade, the distraction, the routine, the rush. I find myself going through motions with a heart that feels more like dust than fire, more numb than alive. I do not come this morning with eloquence. I do not bring some mountaintop moment or grand spiritual display. I bring my dryness. I bring the hollow spaces. I bring the quiet ache that whispers, "Where are you, God?" Not because I doubt you exist, but because I miss the warmth of your presence. I miss what it feels like to be near, to be tender again in spirit, to weep when truth hits me, to sing when grace surprises me. Father, I am tired of pretending. I am tired of smiling on the outside, while my soul feels brittle underneath. So I come, not with fanfare, but with honesty, not with spiritual strength, but with hunger. Let this emptiness be the very thing that draws me back to you. Let this thirst be the doorway to deeper intimacy. I do not want to settle for a faith that only lives on Sundays. I want the kind that breathes through my Monday morning silence, through my doubts, through my fragile hours. You see every hidden place in me. You know the parts that used to burn with passion and now flicker low. And still, you wait, not in anger, not in judgment, but with arms open and a love that never retracts. You are not disgusted by my dryness. You are not ashamed of my weariness. You long to restore what has grown cold. You long to whisper again in the stillness, not to condemn, but to call me near. So I am listening now, not to my emotions, not to the lies that tell me I am failing, but to your heart. I want you again. Even if I do not feel everything I used to, I choose to return. I choose to seek you, even with weak hands and a quiet voice, because I believe that even a flicker matters to you. Even the smallest reaching matters. And maybe this dryness is not a curse. Maybe it is the soil where you are about to plant something deeper. Remind me, Lord, that you never asked for constant emotion. You asked for honest surrender. You never demanded that I always feel close. You asked that I stay open, willing, present. So here I am, even in this barren place, lifting my soul like empty hands and trusting that you still meet me here. You are not waiting on my perfection. You are waiting on my permission to move, to revive, to pour again into what feels cracked. And even though I do not feel flooded with holy fire, I am still yours. I have not forgotten who you are. I remember the nights when your love wrapped around me like a song. I remember the mornings when your word lit up my spirit like sunrise. And though I can force those moments to return, I trust they are not gone forever. You are the same God. You are still here. I just need to be reminded. So pull me gently. Pull me from the noise, from the clutter, from the subtle comforts that do not feed my soul. Strip away what dulls my heart. Wake me up again, not with guilt, but with grace. Don't let me settle for surviving when you created me for communion. I do not just want to believe in you from a distance. I want to know you, to walk with you, to be awake again inside, even if all I can pray is a whisper. Receive it, even if all I can offer is attention in this moment. Use it. I know that you can do more with a mustard seed of desire than I can with a mountain of effort. So take my little today and breathe your spirit into it. Let my dryness become thirst, and let that thirst lead me back to living water. Let my heart grow tender again, responsive to the nearness I have missed. I will not chase emotional highs, but I will seek your face. I will not demand lightning, but I will wait for your quiet rain. I will not run to distractions when what I need is to be still, even if I have to sit in silence. Even if I have to wait without feeling, I will wait. Because you are worth it. Because my soul was never made to run on autopilot. It was made to burn with the light of your presence. Teach me again how to worship when the music fades. Teach me how to pray without needing the perfect words. Teach me how to rest in you when the world moves too fast. You do not ask me to perform. You ask me to be with you. And maybe that is what this dryness reveals most, how much I need you. How much I miss the simplicity of just sitting with you without agenda. Without pressure. Without pretense. So if this desert has a purpose, let it be to strip away every false comfort and lead me to the one true source. Let it drive me back to the fountain that never runs dry. Let it remind me that no matter how far I have drifted emotionally, I am never outside the reach of your spirit. Let it show me that revival does not always begin with thunder. Sometimes it begins with a whisper, a breath, a decision to stay. And Lord, if others around me feel this same quiet distance, let me not judge them. Let me not assume they have wandered too far. Let me be gentle. Let me sit with them in their own dry season and be a reminder that we do not have to feel spiritual to be loved, to be chosen, to be held. Your grace is not seasonal. Your mercy is not based on our mood. Your presence is not a reward, it is a promise. So I let shame write the narrative. I let silence convince me that you are gone. I will let this moment be what it is, an invitation. To return. To rest. To ask. To long again. To believe that fire can return. Even if it begins as a spark in the ash. Even if it takes time. Even if it comes through tears. Because I know that dry seasons are not the end. They are the soil for something new. And this morning, I say yes to that. Not with loud declarations, but with a steady breath. I am here. I am listening. I am waiting. Let my hunger rise again. Let my love deepen. Let my heart soften. Let my faith be less about performance and more about presence. Because in the end, all I truly want is to know that I am with you. And you are with me, and that is always enough. Father, as the light of this new morning stretches across the sky, I feel its quiet invitation calling me into the unknown once again. It reminds me that no matter how many mornings I have lived through, no two are the same, and even as I rise, still tethered to the weight of yesterday's burdens, or the whisper of tomorrow's unknowns, you are already here present, unwavering, full of power that does not shrink in the face of what scares me. It is strange how a heart can feel so divided. One part longs to trust, to step forward in boldness, to live unshaken. But another part trembles, not from lack of belief, but from the shadows of what might come. I feel the trembling even now, not dramatic, not overwhelming, but subtle. Like a hand hesitating over a doorknob, it is afraid to turn. I need courage, not the kind that roars, but the kind that stands, the kind that endures, the kind that chooses to show up even when fear remains. God, give me that kind of courage this morning, the kind that does not depend on everything feeling right, but moves anyway because you are with me. I do not ask to be fearless, I ask to be faithful. I ask that when fear whispers that I am not enough, when insecurity tells me to stay small, when memories of failure attempt to anchor me to the past, you would rise within me as the louder voice, that your truth would echo deeper than doubt and lead my feet onto firm ground. You know the battles I will walk into today, the visible ones and the invisible ones, the conversations I may dread, the decisions I will hesitate to make, the places where I feel out of my depth. You see the hidden nerves beneath my calm expression, the questions behind my confident words. But even still, you call me forward, not because I am perfect, but because you are present, not because I know the outcome, but because you hold it. Let that truth be the fire in my chest. Let it be the reason I do not shrink today. You are with me. You are not watching from afar, waiting to see how I perform. You are beside me, walking in, standing tall, holding up my arms when they grow weak, whispering courage into my spirit when the noise around me grows too loud. You go before me, you stand behind me, and you walk beside me. Sometimes courage looks like standing firm. Sometimes it looks like letting go. Sometimes it looks like speaking truth. And sometimes it means staying quiet when words would only wound. Teach me what kind of courage is needed in each moment today. Give me the discernment to know when to act and when to wait. Let me not confuse boldness with stubbornness or silence with surrender. Make me wise. Make me brave. Make me whole. Lord, you know how often I rehearse the worst outcomes in my mind. How often I measure my abilities against impossible standards. But you have not called me to a life of anxiety. You have not asked me to solve every problem before I step forward. You ask me to trust you. You ask me to lean not on my own understanding, but to follow where you lead, even when the map is still unfolding. And so I lift up my fear like an offering. I give it to you not because I am strong, but because you are. And in return, I ask for your peace, the kind that guards my heart like a sentry, the kind that holds me steady in the midst of uncertainty, the kind that keeps my eyes on you when the storm rises and the voices within grow loud. Let your word be my shield. Let your promises be my foundation. Let your spirit be the wind in my lungs when my own breath feels shallow. Help me walk into hard conversations with grace and clarity. Help me step into rooms where I feel unseen and remember that you see me fully. Help me show up to assignments that feel bigger than my capacity and know that I am not alone. Help me resist the temptation to run from the discomfort of growth. Give me the strength to stay present, to show up, to do the next faithful thing, even when it feels small or unnoticed. Let my courage today be rooted not in self-assurance, but in your unshakable presence. I do not need the approval of others when I know I walk with you. I do not need a guarantee of success when I know that obedience itself is holy. Let me live with the kind of boldness that does not need applause, the kind that quietly trusts, the kind that honors you by stepping forward in faith, even when my knees feel weak. And Lord, if I falter today, if I stumble, if I forget, if I hesitate, remind me that courage is not about never falling. It is about rising again. It is about remembering why I began. It is about returning to you and letting you renew my strength. You have not called me to be a hero. You have called me to be yours, and that is enough. Even when the road looks uncertain, let me remember that you already know the way. Even when my hands feel empty, let me trust that you will provide what I need in each moment. Even when I feel small, remind me that your power is made perfect in my weakness. Even when I do not see immediate results, let me find peace in being faithful, knowing that you are working in the unseen. Let my life be a reflection of courage that flows from communion with you. Let those around me see not a person trying to be brave, but a soul resting in something greater than themselves. Let my quiet strength become an encouragement to others who are afraid to move. Let my decisions today ripple beyond this moment, planting hope, sparking light, inviting others to trust you more. And if today brings unexpected challenges, unexpected change, unexpected pain, let me not crumble. Let me hold to the truth that nothing takes you by surprise, that you are already in the middle of the unknown, that I can step into anything because I do not step in alone. You are my strength. You are my shield. You are my hiding place and my launch pad. With you, I can do more than survive. I can overcome. I can grow. I can rise. So here I am. Lord, take my fear. Take my weakness. Take my doubts. and fill me with what only you can give, divine courage that does not depend on emotion, but on truth. Courage that flows from intimacy with the one who never leaves, never changes, and never fails. Let this day be one where I do not shrink. Let it be one where I move with purpose, speak with clarity, act with compassion, and rest in the knowledge that whatever I face, I do not face it alone, because you are with me, and that truth is the courage I carry. Lord, you have been my courage when my strength has failed, and as I step into this next moment, I bring before you the part of me that still aches quietly, the wounds that courage alone could not erase. Because even as I walk with purpose, even as I choose faith, there are places within me that still need your healing touch, places that I have learned to silence, to carry without complaint, but they remain, waiting for something more than time waiting for you. Father, you know the parts of me I do not speak of, the ones I keep beneath the surface, hidden under responsibility and daily rhythms. The pain I have labeled as not urgent, the disappointments I have accepted as normal, but you see it all, not as a flaw or weakness, but as a place to pour your presence into. I do not want to pretend that I am whole where I am still broken. I do not want to patch over sorrow with shallow distractions. I want to be healed, not just soothed or numbed, but restored from the inside out. There are memories that sting when they surface, conversations I replay with a heart still bruised, moments of silence that echo louder than any noise. And I bring them to you not because I know what to do with them, but because I know you do. You are not afraid of my pain. You do not pull away from my tears. You draw closer. You come near. You sit with me in the places others have walked past. You stay when I am quiet. You hold what I do not have words to explain. God, teach me how to grieve what I have lost without losing who I am. Help me lay down bitterness before it hardens. Help me name my wounds without letting them define me. I do not want to rush past what still needs your healing. I want to meet you there, in the slow work of mending. Let me feel what I need to feel, but never without hope. Let every H become an invitation to let you in deeper. Let every tear carry a seed of healing, watered by your mercy, rooted in your love. Some days, the pain is loud. Other days, it is quiet but constant, like a low hum beneath everything else. And in both, I need you, not just to take away the pain, but to meet me in it, to remind me that I am not forgotten, not forsaken, not defined by what was taken from me or what went unspoken. Let your truth become louder than the voices that tell me I should be over it by now. Let your comfort surround me like a warm blanket, not to numb, but to nurture what is still alive inside. You are the God who binds up wounds, the God who speaks gently to shattered places, the God who does not rush the process, but walks with care, one step at a time. I need that slowness today. I need that tenderness. I need the kind of healing that does not just fix what is broken, but makes it beautiful again, not by erasing the past, but by transforming it with grace, not by pretending it did not happen, but by showing me how even this can be used for good. Lord, help me forgive where I have been holding on too tightly. Help me let go where clinging is only making the pain worse. Give me strength to face what I have avoided. And if I am not ready to release it all yet, then just help me open my hand a little. You are not asking for perfection, only honesty. And I want to be honest before you today. I want to be open, not polished or strong. Just real, because I trust that you love me in that place more than any other. When I feel the heaviness come back, when the H returns in quiet hours, remind me that healing is not a straight line. Remind me that every step forward counts, even the small ones. Remind me that you are not measuring my progress like the world does. You are not impatient. You are not frustrated. You are faithful. And you are with me in every sigh, every question, every moment when I wonder if I will ever feel whole again. Let your love do what I cannot force. Let it soften what has grown hard. Let it awaken what I thought had died. Let it renew what time alone could not repair. I am yours, fully and still becoming. I am broken in some places and blooming in others. I am both healing and hoping, and in all of it, I am safe in you. Give me the courage to rest when rest feels unproductive. Give me the freedom to feel without shame. Help me speak when silence has weighed too long. Help me stay grounded when waves of memory wash over me unexpectedly. Teach me to listen to my own heart with kindness. The way you listen to me. Teach me to stop punishing myself for what was never mine to carry. Let me receive your healing not as something to earn, but as something freely given. I know there will still be days when the ache returns, when an old wound bleeds beneath the surface. But let those days remind me that you are still working, that healing is not a one-time event, but a journey of many quiet moments. Let them draw me closer to you, not push me away. Let me see them as reminders that I am alive, that I am human, that I am still in need of you, and that is not a flaw, but a gift. So here I am, bringing all that I am and all that still hurts, not demanding answers, not pretending I have it all together, just coming to the one who sees, who knows, who cares, the one who calls me beloved even in my brokenness, the one who holds me together when I feel like falling apart, the one who is not finished with me yet. Wrap me in peace today, the kind that seeps in slowly, the kind that reaches deep. Let it steady my breathing. Let it quiet my thoughts. Let it sit with me like a faithful friend who does not need to fix me, but never leaves. Let that peace remind me that healing is happening, even when I can see it, even when I do not feel it, even when the pain lingers longer than I would hoped. And maybe one day, this place of pain will become a place of testimony, a place where someone else finds hope because I let you meet me here, a place where light shines through the cracks, and someone else's healing begins because I did not hide mine. Use even this, Lord. Use every scar, every tear, every moment I chose to trust instead of shut down. Let it all speak of your goodness, your patience, your restoring love. I believe you can make me whole again, not in a way that denies what I have lost, but in a way that gives it purpose, not in a way that forgets what hurt me, but in a way that tells a bigger story. A story where you are always near, always good, always faithful to mend what is broken, not with quick fixes, but with deep, lasting love. God, even as you walk with me through healing, I feel the quiet tug of another invitation, the call to trust again, not just to feel comfort or experience peace, but to stretch my heart where it once recoiled, to look forward without flinching, to let go of suspicion and protection that once kept me from further hurt, but now only hold me back. I know it is time, not to forget what happened, but to stop letting it shape everything ahead. Lord, it is not easy. Trust is delicate once it has been fractured. It is not simply a decision, but a series of hesitations I must learn to release. The mind replays betrayals like warning signs, but the soul hungers for freedom. I want to walk forward without armor on my heart, without that inner whisper always preparing for disappointment. I want to live soft again, not naive, not careless, but hopeful, expectant, secure not in people but in you. Father, you know how hard it is to lower my guard, to believe again when promises were broken, to let others close after silence became safer. I carry these layers like protection, but they have started to suffocate the very life I long for. I do not want to keep holding back love out of fear. It will not be returned. I do not want to keep questioning the goodness in others or second-guessing blessings, waiting for the moment they disappear. I want to trust not blindly, but bravely. Remind me that trusting does not mean pretending. It does not mean I have to deny my instincts or ignore past pain. It simply means choosing not to let pain be my guide anymore. It means leaning into what you see rather than what I fear. I need your help, God, because my heart remembers too well. It remembers the conversations that turned cold, the people who left without reason, the moments when I gave the best of me and was left empty. And yet, in that same memory, you were always there when others left. You remained when trust was broken. You held my hand when I did not understand. You whispered peace into confusion. So maybe it begins here, trusting you more than I trust my fears. Trusting you more than I trust the pattern of what has gone wrong. Let me rebuild from that place, not from the rubble of disappointment, but from the foundation of your faithfulness. Lord, there are places in my heart that hesitate to open again, not out of stubbornness, but out of self-protection. I have learned to guard what is precious, but sometimes I forget that you are the ultimate guardian of my soul. I do not have to be my own defender. I do not have to anticipate every outcome or control every variable. You go before me. You prepare a way. You shield me with wisdom and bathe me in grace. Teach me to discern, not to assume. Teach me to risk connection, not avoid it. And when trust must be given again to people, to situations, even to myself, help me give it slowly, wisely, and without fear. You are not rushing me, but you are calling me forward. You are not pushing, but gently inviting me to stretch where I have been small. Let that invitation feel like warmth, not pressure. Let it echo with safety, not demands. You have never asked me to trust people more than I trust you, so I won't confuse them. I will place my deepest trust in you alone, because you are constant. You are not fickle. You are not fragile. You do not shift with time or emotion. And from that rooted place, I will begin again learning to trust others not because they are perfect, but because you are enough even when they fail. Help me release the belief that I must predict the future to feel safe. Help me surrender the urge to control what is not mine. Let me be at peace even in the not knowing. Let me live from a place of holy dependence, where every decision is grounded in prayer, every relationship filtered through your wisdom, every new beginning held in hands that are no longer clenched in fear. There will be moments, I know, when doubt creeps in, when something small awakens old fears, when I begin to shrink back again. In those moments, Lord, remind me gently who I am and whose I am. Remind me that the past may explain me, but it does not define me. Remind me that new beginnings are not naive, they are courageous. That starting again is not foolish, it is sacred. And if trust is broken again along the way, remind me that it won't destroy me, because I am not building my security on shifting sands. I am anchored in you. I am leaning into your strength. I am standing on a promise that does not shake when others fall short. Let that assurance free me to trust with wisdom, with grace, and without fear of falling apart. Lord, I pray for the people in my life right now, the ones I am learning to trust again, and the ones I am still unsure about. Teach me how to walk with open hands, not closed fists. Let me see them through your eyes. Show me where to draw boundaries and where to extend mercy. Give me the discernment to know the difference. Protect my heart, not by building walls, but by filling it so fully with your love that I do not crumble when others fail to love me well. Give me courage to ask for help when trust feels thin, to be honest about my fears instead of masking them. Let my transparency become a testimony, not a weakness. Let my story of rebuilding become a beacon for others learning to do the same. Let them see in me not a perfect journey, but a faithful one held together by you every step of the way. There is such beauty, I think, in trusting again, in placing fragile hope into your hands and watching it strengthen, in opening the doors that fear once shut and discovering joy waiting on the other side. I want to live like that. Not guarded, not cynical, but grounded in truth and open to joy, because you are the one who makes even the scared places bloom. You are the one who turns history into testimony and risk into revelation. Let my trust in you be the foundation of how I relate to the world. Let it color my voice with compassion, not suspicion. Let it soften my presence so others feel safe to be real. Let it anchor me so I do not need to control or manipulate. Let it overflow so that what I give is never born of fear, but of faith, not of protection, but of purpose. Let it be the lens through which I see possibilities instead of problems. Let it change how I live, how I love, and how I lead. So today, in the quiet, I take a small step, a simple surrender. I release the outcome I can predict. I loosen my grip on expectations. I open my hands to trust again, not because it is easy, but because it is holy, because it draws me deeper into your presence, because it makes room for healing I did not know I needed, because it aligns me with the life you created me to live. And as I move forward with cautious courage, I know you walk with me, You do not require perfection. You simply ask for honesty. You meet me where I am and gently guide me toward what could be. And though my trust may begin small, it is real. It is enough. And in your hands, even that mustard seed of faith becomes something steady. Something sacred. Something strong enough to carry me forward. Lord, as I walk further down this quiet path of surrender, there is something stirring deeper within me, not just a desire to follow, but a longing to truly know you. Not as a distant presence I visit in moments of crisis, not as a name I recite in morning rituals, but as the heartbeat of every breath I take. I crave not just answers, but intimacy, not merely blessings, but connection. I want to live in a rhythm where your whisper guides my steps and your nearness becomes my home. Father, I realize now that trust is only the beginning. What my soul really aches for is nearness and unshakable closeness with you that holds me even when nothing else feels sure. I want to hear you in the silence and sense you in the ordinary. I want to know what moves your heart and to feel joy not just from what you give but from who you are. I long to sit with you not just in need but in delight. To simply be and let that be enough. God, sometimes I do not know how to reach deeper. My days fill quickly. My prayers become lists. My thoughts scatter before I finish a sentence. But beneath the noise, there is a quiet hunger, a place inside that is not satisfied by surface living. A place that does not want to skim the edges of faith anymore. I want to abide, to remain, to dwell in your presence like a child who never worries if they are welcome. I do not want to wait until hardship drives me to seek you. I want to pursue you in stillness, in laughter, in the pauses of my day when no one else is watching. Teach me how to draw near, not by striving, but by softening, not by performance, but by presence. I do not want to impress you. I want to encounter you. I do not need to be polished. I just want to be present. Let my time with you feel like a river that I return to, not a well I have to dig each morning. Let it be steady, nourishing, and alive. Teach me that intimacy with you is not just built in the breakthroughs, but in the quiet, in the showing up, in the ordinary offerings of attention and openness. Lord, awaken my heart again. Breathe life into the parts of me that have settled for shallow faith. Forgive me when I have let routine replace relationship, when I have spoken out of habit, but not from the fullness of love. You deserve more than my checklists. You desire more than my consistency. You long for my heart. So let me bring you my wonder again. Let me bring my awe, my silence, my tears, my laughter. Let me bring you the unfiltered parts of me, the questions I hide from others, the dreams I barely whisper. There is a sacredness, I believe, in choosing to seek you not just for what you do, but for who you are. To kneel, not in desperation, but in desire. To listen, not for instruction, but for communion. To wait, not out of obligation, but because I love the sound of your voice. And even when that voice seems faint, let the stillness itself be holy. Let the waiting be an act of intimacy. the pursuit itself be the reward. Sometimes, Lord, I wonder what it would be like if I could hear you more clearly, if I could recognize your movement in every ordinary hour. But perhaps it is not that you are silent, it is that I am too distracted. Help me learn the language of stillness again, the slow rhythm of your presence that does not shout but settles. Let my inner world quiet enough to recognize when you are near, because you always are. You are not hiding, you are waiting, and I am learning to wait with you. Help me turn sacred what I often treat as mundane. Let my morning coffee be a chance to thank you for warmth. Let the light through my window be a reminder of your constant mercy. Let the chores become an altar where I offer you my time. Let walking, breathing, sitting, all of it be touched by awareness that I am never alone. Draw me into such intimacy that I no longer separate the spiritual from the ordinary. Let everything be a place where you are welcome. And when the world tempts me toward productivity over presence, remind me that depth is not built in hurry, that intimacy cannot be microwaved or manufactured. It is cultivated slowly, deliberately, gently. Let me return to you not just when I am exhausted, but as my first instinct, my first love. Let my soul find home in the cadence of your presence, simple, sure, sacred, God. When I feel far from you, let that distance awaken longing, not shame. Let it call me back, not make me run further. Let me believe that I never have to earn my way back into your arms, because you never left. You wait for me with kindness, not coldness, with delight, not disappointment. So even now, I draw near again, not perfectly, but sincerely, and I find you, always ready, always near, always whispering, welcome. Shape my life to reflect this pursuit. Let those who meet me sense that I have been with you. Let the way I speak carry the calm of someone who knows they are deeply loved. Let the way I listen reflect the patience you have shown me. Let the way I show up in the world be an overflow of the closeness we share. May intimacy with you not be reserved for private prayers, but shine through every interaction, every moment, every breath. I do not just want to survive with faith. I want to flourish in closeness with you. I want to move through life not just doing good, but being near to the one who is good. I want my days to smell like heaven, to sound like grace, to feel like peace, not because life is easy, but because you are near, because you are in every detail. I surrender to you, because nothing is too small for you to transform into sacred space. So deepen me, Lord. Take me past the surface, past the performance, past the places I have stopped short. Dig wells in my soul that only you can fill. Let prayer be less about words and more about presence. Let silence become sanctuary. Let worship rise not only in song, but in how I live. Let your spirit shape not only what I do, but who I am becoming. And in those quiet places where the world cannot reach, let it be you and me. No expectations. No need to prove anything. Just communion. just presence, just love. Let me walk out of that place renewed, softened, awakened to the truth that no matter what happens outside me, I am held by the one who knows me completely and loves me without measure. You are not a God who waits for me at the end of the day. You are with me in every moment. Let me notice you. Let me seek you. Let me stay with you and find in that closeness everything my heart has been longing for. Let that be the treasure I carry into every hour, the anchor beneath every storm, and the joy that colors even the most ordinary of days. Lord, as I come to this still place once more, I carry with me not a heavy heart, but one full of quiet reverence. You have walked with me through valleys and across ridges of faith, through restless nights and whispered mornings. And now, in this gentle hour, there is no need for loud declarations, just the hush of a soul resting in the comfort of your nearness, just the steady realization that this journey, though long, though uncertain, is not walked alone. Every breath I have taken in this prayer has brought me closer to the awareness of how deeply you know me and how faithfully you remain by my side. Father, as the sky softens and the first cues of morning stretch themselves across the horizon, I am reminded again of how you always begin with light. You do not wait for perfection, for clarity, or for control. You start where we are, in the midst of confusion, in the middle of sorrow, in the core of our longing, and you begin the gentle work of unfolding grace. You draw us near, not with pressure, but with peace, not with judgment, but with love that wraps itself around even the most fragile parts of us. There is something sacred in knowing that I am not expected to have it all figured out, that I am allowed to show up simply as I am, half awake, unsure, carrying pieces of yesterday, and that even in that state, you are eager to meet me, not to fix me instantly, but to be with me, patiently, kindly, fully. That alone is healing. That alone is enough. You are the God who kneels beside our weakness, who waits in the pauses, who does not rush transformation. And I realize now, so much of what I once chased, success, answers, certainty, pales in comparison to this steady companionship. To walk with you is not just to rise, but to remember who I am as I do. To move through the world aware that my life is shaped not just by circumstances, but by your unseen hand guiding gently, never forcing, always inviting. So even as I open my hands to this new day, I let go of what I cannot carry. I surrender the weight of outcomes, the tension of control, the noise of anxiety. I exchange them, not for guarantees, but for your presence. I do not know what the hours ahead will bring, but I choose to believe that you are already there, that nothing is waiting for me outside this moment that will surprise you or separate me from the grace you have already prepared. And that is enough to keep walking. God, I no longer want to measure progress by what I accomplish. Let me measure it by how quickly I return to you. Let me see growth not in how strong I appear, but in how honestly I depend on you. Let my strength come not from certainty, but from trust. And let trust become the posture I carry into every conversation, every task, every unknown. even in the places that feel barren. Let me listen for life, even when silence feels heavy. Let me remember that you are never absent, even when prayers feel thin. Let me know that presence matters more than words. I no longer want to chase answers. I want to walk closely enough with you that even the questions become holy. This prayer has not been a script but a journey, a way of walking with you before I walk with the world, a way of turning inward before stepping outward, a way of lighting a lamp inside before I try to light anything outside. And as this time draws quietly to its edge, I do not feel like I am finishing something. I feel like something within me has been unlocked. A quiet stream has begun to flow gentle, hidden, but alive. And that stream, I pray, will continue through every hour of this day. So God, here I am again. Not perfect, but present. Not fearless, but willing. Not full, but open. I will carry what you have stirred in me and let it echo through every step I take. I will walk slower, speak softer, listen longer, because I have been with you, because I have remembered what matters, because grace has touched the center of my being and left its mark. Let this nearness change me. Let it make me gentle in a harsh world. Let it make me patient in hurried moments. Let it make me forgiving, even when I have every right to be cold. Let it make me whole in places I did not know were fractured. Let this time spent with you not just be a refuge, but a beginning, a lens through which I view every interaction, every problem, every possibility. Let me not be quick to forget. Let me not rush from this holy pause into the noise, thinking I must perform or prove myself again. Let me return again and again to this awareness that I am loved, that I am held, that I am seen not because of what I do, but because of who you are. Let that be the grounding truth I carry more deeply than anything else. And if there comes a moment today when I feel I am losing my grip, when I grow impatient, overwhelmed, tired, remind me of this quiet hour. Let me remember how peace felt in my bones. Let me recall the sacred stillness where I felt no need to be anything but yours. Let that memory call me back, not just to this place, but to you, because you are not only found in quiet mornings. You are found in traffic, in tension, in trial. You are found in laughter, in tears, in silence, in music, in faces, in shadows. Let me look for you. Everywhere. You have not promised an easy day, but you have promised yourself. And that is more than enough. You have not guaranteed comfort, but you have offered companionship. And in that sacred offering, I find the courage to begin again, not because I am strong, but because I am not alone, not because the world is stable, but because you are unshaken. So let the day come. Let it unfold moment by moment, surprise by surprise, breath by breath. I will not hold it tightly. I will not demand that it go my way. I will open my hands and walk gently through it, knowing I am guided, knowing I am loved, knowing you are with me from sunrise to sunset and through every hour in between. Thank you for this journey we have taken together, for every chapter you have walked me through, for every hidden place you have entered with kindness, for every tear you have seen, every fear you have calmed, every whisper you have spoken into my soul. This has not been a script. It has been a companionship. It has been the rediscovery of what it means to walk with God. And now, as the light stretches further into the morning, as the shadows retreat and the air shifts with quiet warmth, I step forward, not with finality, but with faith. Not with a closing thought, but with an open heart. This is not the end of the prayer. It is the beginning of a day touched by it. Thank you for staying until the final word of this journey. If this prayer has found a place in your heart, I invite you to share your own thoughts or prayers below. Your words might be the encouragement someone else is waiting to hear. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it today, and join us as we continue seeking light, healing, and faith together. Every morning, the wind is gentle now, the trees are still, the light has broken softly across the sky, and somewhere in that first hush of dawn, hope is rising again,